5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Off and rolling, midweek hump day edition, September 28, 2022 edition of Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Bryant Dacus on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus. Bryant, hello.
Hi, Gabe.
When you get your Mariners off the schneid, man.
We got to.
We really do.
No,
and my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy at Brett Norsworthy on Twitter. Brett, we don't need to get our Cardinals off the schneid. How about that last night?
The Cardinals are in, and since the All-Star break, the Cardinals ran off and hid with a really poor division. I think everybody needs to recognize that. Only Milwaukee was halfway competitive all year. It's just so sad to see. And today, the Pirates and the Reds, at the end of that game, it ended 4-3 with a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth for the Buccos. I promise, cold, drizzly, miserable day in Pittsburgh, two horrible teams. I promise you, total human beings on the property of that great stadium could not have been 200 people.
We talked about it before the year. It was the Cardinals, then the Brewers, and then massive fall off. Then the rest of those. Then the rest of those three teams. The Pirates, like you don't expect anything from them really year in, year out. Lately they've been struggling. Don't really bring in free agents. Don't have a whole lot of talent.
And then the Reds and Cubs quit.
And then the Reds and Cubs, like that, like Pirates, I can give a slight pass to. Reds and Cubs just sold everything and decided to give up, which is just there's nothing fun, cool. Like I never thought that I'd sit here for an entire season of MLB baseball and truly like feel sorry for Cubs fans. Like truly do.
And for Reds fans, the same thing. But the Cubs, they just had a taste of it. And they drag profit. Those owners just said, no, we know Wrigleyville's kind of Cubs Disneyland, and we're going to drag profit and eat, let them eat cake.
Yep.
We're just not worried about it. And I said this earlier today with Dave, except for Cleveland's ticket that they've punched, and I think whenever Bryant's Mariners punch theirs, I think they will. It's gotten a little cumbersome, though.
They're messing around.
Who else out there in the preseason did we really not see a playoff ticket punch that up? Who could really have that wild dog pile celebration? I think Cleveland could and should have a big dog pile. And when the Mariners punch a ticket for the first time since 2001 into the playoffs, but everybody else, you knew when the baseball labor strike was resolved, you knew Yankees, Dodgers, Cardinals, Braves, Mets were going to be in.
Now, Mariners were borderline, but I had the Mariners in. Mariners went and got Suarez, Jesse Winker. Like, they went and got some guys.
And when you see his name phonetically, it's A-U-Henio. Man, I mean, that may be the phonet. When you see it laid out phonetically, you go, man, great.
And Bryant, weren't you telling me yesterday, and I know we don't have the exact stat in front of us, but he's like top 3 the last 3 years in home runs.
Well, since 2017.
Since 2017.
He's top 3 home runs, which is incredible. Nolan Arenado was on there, which I was happy to see. But, man, that shocked me.
That's one of those names that you just don't expect to be up there that high on that type of list.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Head down, does his job.
And been playing for the Reds.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun in 9 days, but playoffs get going. The Braves with a legitimate chance to repeat.
Mm-hmm. But real quick, can you play me my Danny Mac? I have to get my Danny Mac out of the way. Because he didn't get to call Albert's 700th. I have to get his NL Central winning call, right? Go ahead, Brian.
The first pitch. Little check swing. Back to Helsley. He's got it. Underhands. The Cardinals. The 2022 NL Central Division champions. It's the 4th consecutive year in postseason play. And a season that has been defined by so many great moments and individual milestones. In 2022, the Cardinals are the champions of the National League Central Division.
Cardinals fans are getting used to that at this point. Now, I want to get back to this in a second. Let me lay out the show. First off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. And we're going to have a load of guests on today's show. 3:30, Alex Kuhn will join us from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids, also from WBBM News Radio. He produces the games for the Chicago Bears. We'll talk to him about a lot of things, including me and him were having an interesting conversation about the Kansas football program, believe it or not, where they are compared to where they were when I was in college. When we traveled up to Lawrence, played against them, they came to Memphis, how badly they were coached compared to now. Alex and I had an interesting discussion. I'll bring that up with him when he joins us at 3:30. 4 o'clock, Drew DeArmond will join us. He's a talk show host at 97.7 The Zone in Huntsville, and we have Bama versus Arkansas to talk CBS game of the week. And Arkansas coming off that loss, rough loss. Bama has to show some dominance in the SEC. That's going to be a really good matchup. I am more excited, though, for that Kentucky-Ole Miss matchup I'll talk about in just a second. 4:30, our every other week visit with Steve Earhart, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That will be at 4:30. 5 o'clock. I can't wait to talk about this game. Kentucky versus Ole Miss. Number 7 Kentucky versus number 14 Ole Miss. We're going to bring on Nick Roush from Kentucky Sports Radio to talk about that, and maybe a little bit of basketball as well, with sort of the Tigers being relieved of all that IARP nonsense yesterday. Get his take on that. But that game's going to be fun, Brett. Listen, I'm very excited for Bama, Arkansas. I want to see what that looks like. But that Kentucky-Ole Miss game has lasting season aspirations for both of those teams. Like, both of those teams getting through that matchup is going to be huge.
And see which one's for real. See what Kentucky with that big road win at Florida, is that as big as kind of the history aspect of it? And for Ole Miss, really 4-0, not against very much, but 4-0. And both of these teams in their last 18 games, both 15-3. The overall job being done by Mark Stoops and Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, it's remarkable.
And it's just the point of this being a top 15 matchup, right? At this point in the year, like that in itself is different. But that Kentucky team's for real. I think this Ole Miss team's for real. But Ole Miss hasn't really had a whole lot of challenges yet. Yes, Tulsa was a challenge, but Kentucky is certain to be a lot worse than that. By the way, what's going on?
And the news today that Will Levis would be Mel Kiper's number 1 quarterback taken,
or 2. I thought he was 2 behind C.J. Stroud. He's changed it a lot though.
But because of the teams involved, I think that's who he projects needing a quarterback.
Okay, yeah. And Will Levis is a good player. He really is. Different than anybody that Mark Stoops has ever had.
And if you think Eugenio Suarez has a name, how about the Kentucky running back?
Well, they have Chris Rodriguez back, but Cavassier Smoke?
Cavassier Smoke.
Oh, but
man.
Both those guys have been there since the Reagan administration. Cavassier and
one
Chris
of the
Rodriguez.
Great stage names of all time for Cavassier Smoke.
I'm just going to ask this quickly.
That sounds like a name of a team in Live Golf, doesn't it?
The Cavassier
now
Smoke.
Representing the Cavassier Smokes, Taylor Gooch.
I have to ask this quickly. What's the – you saw Lane Kiffin's presser, right? I'm assuming. And talking about the crowd, how do you feel about that? He was basically saying he felt like he was walking in at least the second half of that Tulsa game to a college stadium that had a high school crowd. I thought that was a little weird.
He told the truth.
It was correct. It was correct.
The 3 home crowds this year have been blank poor, and he's upset about it, and I don't blame him.
Okay.
How much more has he got to do?
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, he took over a program that had flatlined. It was at the college football morgue. It was over. I mean, NCAA scandal.
Yep.
Tried one of their former beloved person, Matt Luke. Matt Luke, I'm sorry, but Matt could have stayed coach there 25 years and was never going to get it to the point that Lane Kiffin's gotten it after 3 years. And Lane Kiffin, he loves Oxford. He says all the right things. He means it about Oxford. Now has custody of his daughter, and she's going to high school there. He's ready to be embraced.
Right.
He's ready for people to show up for him, regardless who it is. Those 3 crowds at times, at times look like really poor spring crowds. And sometimes the truth hurts. He had to say it, and I'm glad he did, and I agree with him.
Yep. It was legitimate frustration. And he says
it should be.
There's something, and he's talking about the sort of the mental aspect of it. To be as good as you are, to be the number 14 team in the country and walk out to that type of crowd, that is depressing. I remember being at the University of Memphis, being 9-2 or 8-3, and having some struggles and nobody being in the crowd for an SMU game. Obviously, it was rainy. Like, that type of thing does bother you. You notice that as an athlete, and it could affect your play. I never tried to let it affect me, but it affects people. I will say this, though. Home games so far: Troy, Central Arkansas, Tulsa. I'm not going to make a ridiculous excuse about why they should be. I think you should have a turnout for a top 25 team no matter what. But I think rest of the way, it'll be pretty full in Vaught Hemingway. Kentucky, Auburn, Bama, State. I don't see any issues. Rest of the way.
That was the backbone of the season ticket sales. So the conference teams. That's what did it. But Gabe, we're talking those 3 games. You're right. Hot Labor Day weekend. FCS opponent, hot last weekend, all that good stuff. Okay, you have real people. You should have real people at those games 45, 50. It ain't been close.
Yeah. What has it been? Like for the Tulsa game example.
Real people for Tulsa.
To start the game, not halftime, because I know everybody filed out at halftime.
You know, most people kind of do their legitimate for their bookkeeping records at the end of the first quarter because late arrivals, et cetera. I'm going to say for Tulsa, real human beings, around 40.
Okay. That was just at the start of the game.
Or the max crowd at the end of the first quarter.
Did that keep up the entire game, or did people file it out really quickly?
With the heat, and then the halftime margin, I think, lulled some into it. But nevertheless, it's
got to be better.
The crowds have been poor.
Yeah, it's got to be better.
I'll say there's just no way around it.
I'll say this on my side, too. I thought last week at Liberty Stadium was relatively poor, and I think that needs to improve as well. But, hey, it's early in the season. You're not into conference.
Sellout.
You're not into conference. You're not into conference play in a lot of these situations. So, generally, we're used to seeing these type of numbers early in the season. But we'll see. We'll see if they improve. Hit us up at the listener line though, 901-360-8255. Also, watch us live and message us on our socials: Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56whbq.com. Now back to the Cardinals. Win the 90th game, clinch the NL Central. They're going to be in a wild card situation here. Whether it's the Phillies, whether it's the Padres, whether it's the Brewers, if they somehow figure it out, which
who do you want?
Seems tough.
If you could pick your opponent, you think you could rough them up, win both easily?
I've sort of stuck by this. I just, as much as the Padres have struggled, I want to stay away from the Padres. I just don't. They have a lot of talent on that team, and
something could get ignited with them.
And I just don't. I think you play with fire with a team like that. Also, last time the Cardinals and Padres played, I saw Blake Snell just eat that lineup. I mean, just ripped them to shreds. I mean, they had no chance against him. So I'd say the Phillies right now. The Brewers would be a frustrating one because the Cardinals see them so much. But I'd say Phillies.
You'd get a healthy, well-rested Burns at least once against Milwaukee. I think it's the Phillies too, and we could eat those words when the Phillies swept two in St. Louis. But
I as much as I like what the Cardinals have done after the All-Star break, one, we know that they haven't played a schedule that's suitable.
Swept the Yankees in there.
Yeah, right. And but the Yankees struggled badly after that. And listen, I get that. I'm just saying, like, I think when we talk about the Cardinals versus any of these teams in the wild card situations, I think that they are capable of losing 2 or 3 to them. I do. Now, I think they're capable of winning 2 of 3 against them as well. But there's not. I think the Phillies are a more suitable matchup, but the Cardinals, I don't know what you're gonna get from them in a playoff situation, this wild card situation. I guess that's where I'm coming from. I think they're capable of losing 2 of 3 to the Phillies, is all I'm getting at. Even though I think the Phillies would be the most suitable matchup, if you understand where I'm coming from. think we lost Brett. Now, I was going to ask this. When Brett rejoins, we'll get his opinion as well. Bryant will join me on this for a second. Who makes the most sense as far as the three probable starters for the Cardinals in a wild card situation? I'm struggling with that bad.
Yeah.
I think most Cardinals fans, media are struggling. And the three I came up with that make the most sense for me: Michaelis for sure. He's like lock, absolute lock.
I think you throw him out there game one.
Yes, he's the lock, and he was pretty good last night. I'd say Wainwright, even though he's had a lot of base runners and he's struggled lately, I think just by default you have to put him in there. And then my third would be Quintana at the given moment. Now, the only reason Jordan Montgomery, I know how good he was for a while with the Cardinals for his first, 7 starts. His last 3, he's given up 13 earned runs. I mean, like, I think once you get into an extended series, yes, you can throw in a guy. You can throw in Jordan Montgomery. Flaherty will have to get involved. But my 3 right now: Michaelis, Waino, and Quintana.
I'd probably go Michaelis game 1, Quintana 2, and then have Montgomery there for game 3 if you need him.
So no Wayne, you just can't trust Waino right now.
I don't trust him at all. But also, I think Wainwright is better in a situation where you put him in game 1 of a longer series, kind of throw him out there, a game that you can kind of risk losing if you have to.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to end up putting Wainwright in there somewhere in that first 3 games, but I just don't trust him at all.
With him, it's been base runner after base runner after base runner. He gives up hits.
Mm-hmm.
He's not missing barrels. He's not striking people out. But like he's older to the point where you kind of have to expect that.
Yeah.
And I believe we have
Crafty
Brett.
right-hander.
There we go. I believe we have Brett back. Okay, who are your 3 before we get into the top and not top story of the day?
You got to go with what brung you. You got to send Wainwright out there first, and then Jordan Montgomery second, and then Michaelis third.
You think Michaelis third? Michaelis, the way I see it, he's your most trusty guy.
He was good
at this
yesterday,
moment. But I mean, as of late, he's been your most trusty guy. I said Michaelis 1, then, if you want to throw out a lefty to sort of break up the monotony, maybe Quintana, and then Waino. I think you have to put Wainwright in there, though. I don't think you can, in good faith, keep him out of a win or go home situation.
It would be tough. I think you got to run him out there at some point. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Drive-in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
For me, I have to start by bringing up Hurricane Ian. If you have family in the state of Florida, if you have family in the Southeast, call them, check in on them. Obviously, I'm praying for my folks down there, my friends in that area of the country. I know I had a buddy who lives in St. Bede who had to board up and get up out of there. The west coast of the state of Florida, Fort Myers, Sarasota, St. Pete, Tampa, is under, duress in a bad way right now. Just the truth of the matter. Hurricane Ian, borderline between Category 4 and Category 5. I don't know if you guys have seen the storm surges via social media, via the news, but the storm surges are unreasonably high, and it's going to take its toll, a serious toll, on the west coast of the state of Florida and the state of Florida as a whole. So prayers out there. Now, as far as sports are concerned, I do have to mention what is going on with that. Florida, Eastern Washington has been moved to Sunday. There will be an 11 a.m. Central kickoff. South Carolina versus South Carolina State has been interestingly moved up to tomorrow, and that will be at 6 p.m. Central Time. The Bucks, there's a lot of things going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, but they're practicing in Miami. at the Dolphins facility, and the NFL is trying to come up with contingencies and figure out what potentially needs to happen. But Chiefs-Bucks, that massive game that we're going to see in Week 4, could potentially be moved to Minneapolis. And also the last thing I have to mention, Mets-Braves, which Mets and Braves, I don't know if you checked last night, Braves end up beating the Nats, and the Mets end up losing to the Marlins. So flat tie, and they're going to play a 3-game set that could decide the NL East. The MLB's coming up with contingencies right now. It could be affected. They don't know, but we'll stay abreast, and we'll give that info when we find it.
Pretty high and dry in Miami and in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. They're not enduring anything like the West Coast of Florida, but West Coast, it's like it's catastrophic for them. My top story, college football season gives way from September to October with Saturday's game. We think we know that Georgia is dominant, and Bama and Ohio State are right there in that league. Then what? That muddled from 4 to 5 to 15 or 18. Is Kentucky really that good? Is Ole Miss that good? We'll find out Saturday. Arkansas, Texas A&M, Utah, Oregon, Washington. It'll start to sort out with this weekend's games. And for either Kentucky or Ole Miss, somebody's going to win that game, and whichever one wins, there's still going to be questions around those teams. But they'll be able to say this. Whoever has the most points at Vaught-Hemingway Saturday, they can say for 2022, we were better than the other one. The winner gets to claim better for this year. It was close. It was better than we expected. We still got a lot of games to play. No. Whoever wins Saturday between Kentucky and Ole Miss, that's the better of those two for this year.
And truthfully, lasting effects on their standing at the end of the season, this game, in my opinion.
Standing in the standings and in perception. Yep. That's a good point.
Not top story of the day.
For me, Golf Week produced put out a report citing multiple sources that reported Live Golf is nearing a deal to buy airtime. And so they're buying it. They're not getting money for it. They're going to buy airtime. Obviously, the end goal for them would be to get paid for their airtime, but buy airtime from Fox Sports. They're trying to buy airtime from Fox Sports, and Fox Sports is apparently fielding the offer and trying to take it at this moment. And this would be the events of Live Golf would be broadcast on FS1. But this is not awesome news. This is for the PGA Tour, for fans of golf. Live Golf getting airtime, getting airwaves in the United States of America, getting that domestic, getting that time in front of our eyes is not good. And now, granted, I still have
the market will speak.
I still have to put a emphasis on the fact that this is bought airtime. This is not. They're not selling airtime. They're not making money off of this. They're still leaking money. But this is a step in the right direction for them getting where they want to go, and I don't think a lot of people want to see that.
We'll see. Yep. I'm not going to watch it 1 second. But the market will determine whether there's a place for that in the golf world. I'm almost glad that it is happening. And of course it happened with Fox, and of course they're buying their time. And we know in the world of things that bought time largely is kind of bogus. But we'll see. And if they can go out and produce it and sell it, and there's a market for it, then guess what? They'll get rights fees like everybody else.
You know, Brett, I was thinking about this too, though. When was the last time you saw someone really, truly buy time and make a killing, like a league of some sort? Remember the AAF bought time? Remember the XFL bought time?
I can't ever remember.
I can't remember one that really had an enormous amount of success buying time from a TV partner.
My not top story, questions about Tom Brady and the chemistry with his Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, and I think it's fair. He took off during training camp, not at the beginning of camp, not late July. He took off in middle to late August to be away from his football team, and it looks like they have other issues on that offensive side. I don't think they have a great line. I don't think they have a great wide receiver. I don't think Leonard Fournette is great. He's good. He's serviceable. He's good. And I think he'd be really good behind offensive line and then weapons to keep it honest. And you could get more in off of him in first and second down, it wouldn't be as predictable. But for Tom Brady, he probably should have stayed retired. Every report you read that it was a 2-year deal for every party with the Buccaneers, ownership, Arians, Brady. Well, he made those 2 years count. Then he had to have more. He had to come back for. He cannot live without it. We know how bad Tommy has to compete, and I'm afraid it's going to end poorly.
Brett, I always have to point this out. It's hard for any athlete, and really, this is the GOAT of football. It's the best quarterback we've ever seen. It's hard for any athlete to go out on top, though, the way he did. To see how much he still had in the tank and leave. Led the NFL in passing yards and passing TDs. That's tough to walk away from. But after being 44, going on 45, you would have thought it would have made a difference. Now, I still think that Bucs team can be good if they get those wide receivers back healthy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, but they just had none of them last week.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel, and a big one on Thursday night. Start NFL Week 4 right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. And on Thursday night, here's a couple I love. Jalen Waddle over the yards, Tua to go over his yards, Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown, and Joe Burrow to go over his yards passing. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Sign up with promo code CASH if you don't already have an account. If you already have FanDuel, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you can get. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs minimum. $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We're off and rolling on a Wednesday. Alex Kuhn joins us after this.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Collierville Auto Center is all about trucks and Jeeps, and the inventory is all stocked up. Been looking for that special ride? You're covered from the basics on up. Want to sell your truck or Jeep? Then bring it in and get a fair deal. The technicians at Collierville Auto Center know just about all there is to know when it comes to trucks and Jeeps. So don't be afraid to ask questions. They've probably heard them all. Every truck on the lot has been fully serviced from top to bottom and bumper to bumper, and there are warranties available. Collierville Auto Center, 651 West Poplar in Collierville, and online at colliervilleautocenter.com.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
What do you mean your emergency ribs?
I always have a backup rack.
Just in case.
Exactly, you get it.
No?
I can't always get to Central Barbecue when I have a rib fix.
Like, say, when you're on the air.
You so get me. Imagine I'm on the air, suddenly I have a rib crave. As soon as I go to commercial, I can grab the Central Barbecue backup rack.
And you keep them...
in my briefcase.
That's what's in that briefcase?
That and usually some Central Barbecue slaw. That's pretty much it.
Not, say, show prep?
Nah, I don't want to get sauce on that.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything, and my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Rolling right along. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. Bryant, we need to watch Brett.
Why's that?
Brett just texted me during the break and told me he knows I bought my season tickets for the Grizzlies last night.
Oh,
He's
got a spy.
Is that protected under HIPAA or something? Come on, we gotta make sure.
I'm glad, Gabe.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
Rocking
to have
the FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies.
I'll be down there in section 113. I'm excited. But dang,
113 is great territory, man.
But immediately that's borderline creepy, isn't it?
That's
the French Riviera down through there.
He knows everyone.
You're his co-host. He's got to know.
Brian knows. I mean, not Brian. Brett.
No, I know nothing.
Everyone.
I'm quite the opposite.
Brian, you know a few people. You'll get.
I can't wait till me and Brian get to hang in 113 with you.
Shout out. We'll make it happen. And know what we'll make happen right now? We'll bring on Alex Kuhn from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids, also from WBBM News Radio in Chicago, Bears Radio Network. Also, me and him are related, and you can find him on Twitter at AlexKuhn523. Alex, what's happening?
Get dibs on those tickets, Alex.
Section 113.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Big stuff. Big money. Can't hide money, right? But no, Brett immediately texted me and said he knows that I bought tickets yesterday. That's wild stuff. I need to know the people Brett knows.
Remember, it's a small town.
Yeah, it's the biggest small town in America, right?
Isn't
that what we call it?
And we love each other.
Alex, you doing good though?
I'm doing well. Hanging in there. I saw you guys are still getting. I don't know. Last week, and you guys were getting a little bit of a heat wave. Is that continuing? Because it's really cooling down up north.
We're getting that faux fall right now here in the South. That early fake fall, and then it'll get hot, and then it'll get back to normal. We get about, Brett, what do you say, 2-3 weeks of real fall weather before it gets cold?
Yeah, you got to really enjoy that 10 days of fall here.
Yeah, we're getting that. We're getting that fake fall going into cold.
Y'all are going to be real cold here in. What, a month?
Hey, we're in the mid 50s now, so it's just wait for a month. Can't
Alex,
wait.
I don't know why, but it is really kind of just flew all over me this football season. And the Chicago Bears that you work with the radio network as a part of, they are 2-1. I don't think anybody thinks the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. I don't think anybody thinks the Bears are going to the playoffs. I don't know many that think the Bears will end up with a winning season. But I'm tired of teams having to apologize for being 2-1 or 3-1, or the Tigers score 44 and it wasn't stylistic enough for them. Last week in the SEC, Florida still kind of wanting to claim credit of Tennessee didn't beat us bad enough, and even Arkansas, and I thought Arkansas played well, but A&M won the game. I don't know that we're treating the victor well enough. I don't think that victor should be able to just jam it down your throat. But to the victor go the spoils.
Yeah, they're 2-1. I've been there for all of their preseason games and all of their regular season games. I don't know how they're 2-1 with the passing game that they're putting out there right now. I was looking at a statistic that I want to get this right, but they have something like 275 passing yards on the season, which is worse. The second worst is in like the 400 and 50s. So it's a weird time because I'm sitting there and listening to Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, the play-by-play voice and the color commentator for that Houston Texans game, and it's just nothing but tense and frustration and like, oh gosh, where is this passing game? It's non-existent, and Darnell Mooney's dropping passes, and Justin Fields is missing guys. And shout out Khalil Herbert. They've run the ball very well.
They've run the ball really well,
which is obviously the reason why they're 2-1 at this point, because their defense hasn't been all that great, and their passing game's been non-existent. But yeah, I guess there's all that frustration. Then Roquan Smith intercepts a pass with just seconds remaining, and they kick a field goal to win the game, and all is forgotten about. But they go to New York this week, and they're still, as you were saying, Brett, they're 2-1, but there is a little bit of concern right now,
Alex,
about the team and the offense. A lot is concerned.
I literally feel, you mentioned them going to New York. I feel like they're playing themselves. I feel like they're playing the same team. Obviously, I think Justin Fields is more talented and has more in the future potentially than Daniel Jones. But I think both of those offensive lines have been rebuilt to run the ball really well. Saquon's having a resurgent year. They can't throw the ball. They can't pass protect. And defensively, they're good enough to maybe keep themselves in games. It feels like they're playing the exact same team as them this weekend.
Yeah, and that's where both teams are at. And I guess you look at the line, and the Giants are a 3-point favorite, which means that on a neutral field, this would be a pick'em. Mm-hmm. So as you're saying, Gabe, the odds makers are looking and saying, neutral field, these are exactly the same teams.
Yep.
And because one team is at home, you hear it all the time. They get a 3-point bump. Being at home is worth 3 points. The Giants are a 3-point favorite. And I guess we get to see which team, I don't know, moves to 3-1 on the season and still has absolutely no hype and a lot of concern around the rest of the year.
So this past
and almost like you have to be apologetic if the Bears are 3-1. They don't have to apologize for anybody. They're playing in the NFL. And last week in the SEC, you can go through almost every game. Well, Alabama and Vanderbilt wasn't, but Arkansas narrowly lost to A&M. It was almost like A&M had to apologize. Auburn over Missouri, barely and ugly, almost like they had to apologize. Tennessee didn't beat Florida bad enough, almost like they had to. Georgia only 17 over Kent. Kentucky only 8 over Northern Illinois. Ole Miss only 8
Tigers
over.
only 10 over North Texas.
The Tigers score 6 from half 100, and people are talking about what's wrong with them. I think too many people want to make an excuse in defeat, and too many people in victory are having to apologize and shouldn't.
Yeah, well, there's this time of year, it's win in advance. I think especially for Memphis, you look at it, and there's certain obviously concerns, and though they're fair, like with the running game, it's fair to wonder, okay, where's the running game from an offensive line and a running back situation? Like, are they going to have that downhill running game when they need to line up across from a conference opponent late in the game and run the football
and splatter somebody?
Yeah, exactly. There are those concerns, and those are fair. But at the same time, Gabe, you know this as well as anybody, especially in non-conference games. And look at Memphis; they had to play an early conference game. They got up for it.
Yep.
And then they played a couple of non-conference games in a row. And you know, Gabe, like when you're game planning for non-conference games, especially right before conference play, you're not always. How should I put this? You're not always game planning exactly the same way as you will for a conference opponent. And you're thinking about, okay, we got conference play coming up. Not saying that that's an excuse, but they're 3-1. Let's see what they look like this weekend against Temple, and that's going to tell us everything we need to know.
There needs to be a big revenge factor in that. When you lost that game on the road, just getting dinked and dunked to death by DeJuan Mathis, you have to go in to Liberty Stadium and handle that. Now, I also got a kick out of you last weekend. You were watching that Kansas State-Oklahoma game, and you tweeted out Adrian Martinez called game against Oklahoma. Adrian Martinez, turns out he was not the issue at Nebraska all those years.
No, he was not the issue at Nebraska, and right now you look at the Big 12, and it's completely wide open, and Kansas State, they have that loss for
to Tulane.
Right. Otherwise, where are they ranked this week? That's the craziest thing to think about. Adrian Martinez goes there. They pummel Mizzou in the non-conference. They just beat Oklahoma on the road and lose to Tulane at home. And as I said,
Tulane just lost to Southern Miss. We want to do team math on that?
Yeah, like it's just so nobody knows anything right now about the state of college football other than Alabama and Georgia, and Georgia's really good. Alabama is probably going to be there in the end. Ohio State is probably going to be there in the end, and we'll see about that final spot in the playoff.
Now, go from Kansas State to their state rival, the team that's in their state, Kansas, 4-0,
Yep.
1-0 in conference, beating West Virginia, and Lance Leipold. Like you got to see two games of the teams I was on at the University of Memphis play those Kansas teams. David Beatty was the coach, and we know how that ended. And it's just nasty from start to finish. I guess the question here would be, how good do you think Lance Leipold is as a coach to have them where they're at right now?
He's the hottest up-and-coming name in the sport, quite honestly, because you've mentioned it. That program, for those that didn't follow it or haven't followed Kansas, they were the laughingstock. They were the worst Power 5 program by far, and maybe at times like bordering on worst team in college football.
Yep.
Like they were that bad. They're right down there with the lowest level teams in the Sun Belt or the MAC or the AAC or any of the Group of 5 conferences. They were that bad. And in 2015, I'll share this story. But Gabe, you guys played them in 2015. You played
At
them in
place.
Lawrence.
Yep.
In Lawrence, yeah. And I made the trip over, and we parked over by Fog Allen Fieldhouse, and you gotta get on a shuttle to go to the football stadium. So we get on the shuttle. And on walks this Kansas fan, face paint and all, just decked out in Kansas gear. And he walks up to me. Obviously, I have my Memphis stuff on. And he just is like staring at me. I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, I was like, hi. And he looks at me and he goes, I have a lot of money on you guys tonight, so you better not blow it.
The guy with face paint, with the red and blue face paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And Gabe and the team came through.
Well, that was an interesting game, though, Al. And it's weird because I thought in Lawrence, to start that game, decent turnout for fans. Like, decent turnout for fans. And they went up, 10-0 to start that game, and we came back and just splattered them. But that was an interesting away game to play. Because and maybe you remember it differently, it looked like they actually filled that thing up a little bit to start.
Well, the funny thing was the one half of the stadium was the high school bands that were performing at halftime.
Okay,
so
yeah.
The second
they
half,
cheated.
like that,
they cheated.
Half of the stadium was good. Yeah, you got to somehow get. But no, you guys
got in free if you had your Cub Scout uniform on.
Seriously, the next year you played them at home and were in a definite rebuilding point with Norvell coming in and Riley Ferguson just in his first couple of games.
Me playing right tackle. Yeah, that was.
You were playing right
rough.
tackle, and you still splattered him like 40-7. And needless to say, Charlie Weiss, then David Beatty. It took them to depths that I never thought I would see them get out of. So where you were wondering, like their win total was at 1.5 at points coming into the year. Like they were going to lose their FCS game. They were going to lose whatever group of 5 matchup that they had, and then they were going to get splattered in every single Big 12 game that they played. And sure enough, Jalen Daniels has just been outstanding for them.
You could go online and find Kansas fans saying just de-emphasize football and maybe get KU in all this realignment in something like the Big East for basketball.
Yeah, well, here, I have another one for you. Remember when we were talking about how say there's a Nebraska fan that maybe got put away in the mid 80s or early 90s, had to go to jail, gets out of jail today, and hears that their former quarterback is now at Kansas State trying to win games and is winning games.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, they just fired their coach, and the 2 candidates to fill the vacancy most likely are the Kansas and the Kansas State head coach.
Wow.
Welcome to 2022. But that's
and middle runs Miami out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, awful. Like, and I have my questions about Cristobal outside of his recruiting prowess as well. But right now, if you're Nebraska, you're looking at Lance Leipold and you're begging him. If you're Trev Alberts, you're doing whatever you can to bring him in. I think Chris Kleiman is the number 2 option there, but Leipold's your guy if you're Nebraska, because he's going to bring a developmental style. He's not going to skip steps. And if you can win at Kansas, you can win at any program in the country. It doesn't matter how bad the situation is, because it can't be worse than what he took over at Kansas.
And your whole point this entire time, and I think that's fair, and I think Lance Leipold has shown that he can do this, stabilization. He can stabilize you, and that's all Nebraska needs. I know they want to win 9 games, 10 games here,
direction.
but you have to be stabilized before you get to that point again. And they're far off.
If you're a Midwest program, you need stability and a developmental program. People hate hearing it, but you're not going to be able to recruit with the programs in the South. You're not going to be able to recruit with the programs in like Ohio State and Michigan or Penn State or those programs. You've got to do it a different way, and that was, for whatever reason, what evaded Scott Frost. They had talent, but they couldn't keep coaches around. They didn't have stability with the coaching staff. They didn't have stability with the roster. And sure enough, they got beat on the little details.
Yep.
And that cost them game after game.
Yep. Every single time. But he is Alex Kuhn at Alex Kuhn 523 from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Also WBBM Radio, News Radio in Chicago. Alex, always appreciate it.
Talk to you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Very, very good. And P.J. Fleck, to Alex's point, he's proven that at Minnesota. He knows who he is. At the commissary, either location, we know what they're about. They're about great Memphis-style barbecue. The new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar are the original, the mainstay in Germantown, where it all started for Walker Taylor back in the early 80s. And for any group, if you've got a big group gathering, your fantasy football league to watch Monday night football or Thursday night football, go to the Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. They got plenty of room, and now with this weather, we can take it outside to the patio, wherever and however. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733 and start with all those great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, the barbecue nachos, the smoked chicken wings. All so good. Enough there for that to be your entree, but start with that and then dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on the plate, on a sandwich. All the sides, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. You can order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. And now with this little cooler weather, don't forget about the Brunswick stew. I am remiss when I don't tell you more often about the Brunswick stew at the commissary. And the salads are great, the chicken plate's terrific, and the desserts, lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, the pecan pie. 901-754-5540, 901-754-5540, online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and Germantown. The party areas, orders to go, catering, tailgating, and coming soon, I'll start telling you about the Holiday Bird at either great place, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown.
We have to grab a break. Back in a second to wrap up hour number 1 of today's show.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
You need concrete coatings, materials, and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? Oh yeah, we got that stuff, I think, but it's in Wisconsin, so you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coating and supplies now at TSS Supply. Everything that you need for coating concrete at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road. And you're not dealing with just any supply store. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies, all in one place. Most products are delivered same day or within 24 hours. Looking for a particular item, you need large quantities, or just have general questions, call them at 901-729-0565. Or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. All month in October, TSS Supply is celebrating its grand opening with 10% off your first order. Come by TSS Supply on Wednesday, October 5th for their official grand opening party. Sports 56 will be broadcasting live, plus have free food and prizes. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Hey, Jeff Allen, it's a great day to be happy in a new Kia from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. What you got going on?
Randy, we'd love to make you happy with the all-new 2023 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive. Just $257 per month for 36-month lease and only $29.99 due at signing. Or how about a 2023 Kia Sportage LX front-wheel drive, $287 per month for 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. You got me happy.
And listen, Randy, if you don't see what you want, no problem. We will order exactly the perfect ride for you, and you choose your own bells and whistles.
Plus, equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Seltos P738, 6423, MSRP 25325. Sportage P709, 8842, MSRP 27955. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/2022. Dealer stock only.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in. Now, a couple of interesting notes, injury notes also in college football. Have to mention this, Texas A&M, Anaya Smith, their leading wide receiver. And they have not thrown the ball well through these games.
That was sad.
Through 4 weeks.
Reaction with his dad.
Yep, but he has fractured a bone in his leg, and he will be out for the season. And for their pass game, and I obviously
they just don't have many weapons. They can't lose.
That's what I'm saying. I feel awful for him, but for their pass game, this is a huge dent. I mean, he of the yards they have actually gained through the air, he's got about 250 of them to himself.
And now it makes it easy to game plan for A-Chain.
Yeah. But A-Chain is so fast. That is a great back, but he's also not the type of back that seemingly is going to be able to sort of take those body blows 25 times.
He's not Derrick Henry,
but he can run fast. He can
get him on edge.
Also, for Georgia, Adonai Mitchell, Arian Smith, the two wide receivers that they've been missing are going to be back. Also, Jalen Carter, who's really their biggest. I mean, when you look at the NFL draft boards, he's up there. He's their highest rated prospect, defensive lineman, defensive tackle. Looks like they're going to get him back into the swing of things. He's been in and out of the lineup, but he's probable to play. Now we're going to have Drew DeArmond next from Huntsville 97.7, The Zone. To talk Bama versus Arkansas. I have to get your opinion real quick, Brett, though. When we look at Arkansas and what they've been able to do, I know they're going to be playing at home, so that's going to be a little bit of help to them. What should be the confidence level for their matchup, the ability to match up with this Bama team? It's a scary
I think last week knocked a lot of the stinger out of them.
It's a scary thought for me. And Bryce Young, and I know those wide receivers.
17-point dogs.
I know those wide receivers have had their ups and downs this year, but that secondary has just struggled. Yeah. We're going to bring on Drew DeArmond next to talk about that. But attention sports fans, your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus at 200%. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention promo code Sports56Radio. Again, that's promo code Sports56Radio. And you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins. We have to go ahead and get to hour number 2. And you know what we're doing. We're talking some Bama, Arkansas with Drew DeArmond next.
Waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Need, want, dream about a new ride? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 2023 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive super new SUV. Only $257 a month, 36-month lease, $29.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury and performance? 2023 Kia K5 LXS sedan. We got it at $293 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. If you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today. Plus, Gossett Kias come equipped with a 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
$650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Seltos P 738 6423, MSRP 25325, K5 950 6883, MSRP 26860. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/2022. Dealer stock only.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk. I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop, here on Sports 56, real sports talk.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 is here. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Brian Diggs, of course, in the Family Leisure Studios with me, producing the program. Joining us via the phone line is Drew DeArmond, talk show host in Huntsville, 97.7 The Zone there. Drew, how are you?
Good, guys. It's hard to believe it's been 2.5 months. We were breaking bread in Atlanta, Georgia, but the football season gets here. It seems to take forever, but then it flies by, so it's hard to believe we're already a month in. Great to be with you.
Yeah, week 5. It's kind of it blows my mind we're here at this point. Now we have
October football.
We're out of September. Yes, I look at this Bama team this year, and I'm curious your thoughts just to start this conversation. What's their biggest weakness so far? Like what's the thing that gives you the most pause? That Texas game, I saw a lot of different things. They improved upon those playing Vanderbilt last week. Of course, you got to consider the competition. But what's your biggest concern about this team once we get to the nitty-gritty at the end of the year?
Well, I mean, certainly I think the offensive line is still playing itself out. I think the interior guard spots and then the center were thought to be the solid part, and then you'd have to see the tackles mature. I think the tackles, I know they made some mental errors, especially J.C. Latham against Texas, but for the most part, if you've watched them, Tyler Steen's been solid. J.C.'s been really good, especially for a sophomore. There's been some instability inside, especially at the left guard slot. It's kind of, I will say this, I think Tyler Booker's a special player. I think that's why he's coaching. But still, if you're Alabama, ideally, you don't want to have to start a true freshman unless he wins the job outright early, which didn't happen. And Booker did enroll early. So Xavier Cohen had some well-documented, mental health issues in the off season, set him back a little bit. But he's also a guy that made some mental errors last year, and he got off to a little bit of a slow start. So certainly Alabama, it was basically a stalemate in the trenches against Texas. I thought it would be heavily in Alabama's favor. It's why I thought Alabama would cover in the game, but they didn't. They made a lot of mental mistakes, and I think what you saw the offense, a lot of inexperienced pieces, not just the freshmen and the newcomers, but just guys in the transfer portal, like a Jermaine Burton, like a Steen, those guys that have not played at Alabama long. I think they had a rough go of it on the road. And then uncharacteristic play, like Will Anderson. I think he's the best defensive player in the country, but he got 4 penalties. And if you go back and look at the game, Will has 4.5 sacks. He's going to be on the short list for National Defensive Player of the Year again. But he was responsible roughly for 10 of the points. He got an offsides penalty that I think Texas would have punted. They ended up scoring a touchdown. And then he got just an egregious personal foul that led to a field goal. So, Texas, their quarterback got knocked out. They probably should have only scored 9 points. And instead, Alabama, instead of having a comfortable double-digit win, it had to go down to the last play pretty much. So, again, I think the poise was lacking a little bit. That's what concerns you. It concerns you. This is an experienced team, but again, when you're on the road, whether you're experienced or young, it's tough. It's tough in the SEC, and Texas showed that they have a good program, an improving program under Steve Sarkisian, and starts kind of showing these people, hey, this is what it's going to take to win in the SEC. That was similar to an SEC road environment, and it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen in Fayetteville because, quite frankly, Arkansas is more physical than Texas and probably got a better football team. So Alabama's going to have to be much, much better coming up Saturday afternoon than they were in Austin.
And I think a better coach in Sam Pittman than Steve Sarkisian. Our guest is Drew DeArmond. He hosts in Huntsville. He talks the Crimson Tide every day. Drew, no surprise to you, everybody in the country. If you're not an Alabama fan, everybody else in the country, big O target, big expectations, everybody ready to knock them off. But I think, okay, some of the knocks, fine. It goes with the territory. It goes with that dynasty. But some of it directed at Bryce Young. I mean, you can turn on about anything. You can hear Hendon Hooker's better. You can hear K.J. Jefferson's better. You can hear Stetson Bennett's better. You can hear some early in the year wanting to tout Spencer Rattler. I think that's backing up you. There was a week or two that we had the love affair with Anthony Richardson. I mean, it is coming out of the woodwork better than Bryce Young. He's got to put on a performance Saturday to relaunch defending his Heisman, doesn't he?
Well, he does. He needs to have a great game. And I will say this. I don't think Nick Saban would trade him for any quarterback in the country. Right. And I don't think any other quarterback would have won the game in Austin considering what he had to do to win that game. The throw he made to Jahmyr Gibbs when he rolled to his left and had to set himself and then throw a strike in the end zone. And then, quite frankly, on the corner blitz. And, Brett, you know how much I love Tua Tagovailoa and the pure passer I think he is. You know how much I love the Mac Jones story. Neither one of them would have made the play he made on that corner blitz, making the guy miss somehow like Houdini and going 21 yards down the sideline. If he stacks there, Alabama's probably going to lose the game. So he found a way to make a play. Alabama finally has a kicker. I was asked this on Twitter, when's the last time Alabama fans probably didn't hold their breath when the snap and the hold and the kick? Probably, I'd say Van Tiffin and Philip Doyle, quite frankly. I no disrespect.
Maybe Michael Proctor. Maybe Michael.
Well, maybe his first 3 years, or maybe Lee Tiffin his senior year. But quite frankly,
I don't know. Lee Tiffin scared me more than his daddy did.
Right. Well, quite frankly, though, I've been watching Alabama football since the mid-'80s. He's right up there with those two guys. I think Will Reichert is by far the best kicker of the Saban era, and he's a tremendous talent.
These receivers, and I keep bringing up the Texas game, but I think, yes, I thought that Texas did a good job of matching up in the trenches with that Alabama O-line. I also thought on the edge, Alabama's receivers were not physical at the point of attack. You want to get on the edge sometimes, and you want to make some blocks, and you have to spring guys loose. I remember a game I played in 2015. Brett's going to love this one. When we played and beat Ole Miss at the Liberty Bowl. The difference in the game was the wide receivers being able to whoop Ole Miss's defensive backs and be physical at the point of attack. I think Alabama fell short. Are you concerned at all sort of long-term in this season with the weapons on the outside. And I understand when we're talking about Alabama, this is without question a fall-off year for all of the wide receivers and weapons they have, because I mean, what goes up must come down eventually. When you had Jamison Williams, when you have Henry Ruggs, when you have Jalen Waddle, you knew eventually it would even back out. But is there any concern long-term with the weapons on the outside?
Well, I mean, I thought they took some steps forward, and of course Vanderbilt is not very good on the back end, and I think Alabama knew that. But I really like Ja'Cory Brooks. He makes clutch plays. He made another one against the Texas game. But see, we haven't even discussed it, but Alabama had a fourth down they had to convert on the touchdown drive to take the lead.
Yep.
And who did they throw to? Ja'Cory Brooks. He also caught the tying pass in the Iron Bowl. He makes low blood pressure plays. In other words, he reminds me of Kevin Norwood. The moment's not too big for him. I think he's
great comparison.
Yeah, and I really think also that Jermaine Burton is starting to get going. I thought, and remember last year, guys, Jamison Williams didn't really take off from the Texas ATM game. And so, and by the way, I say ATM, it's the obvious reason.
We know. You're right.
And they just
another
cashed in another one, David Hicks, But yeah. But again, I just think overall it's taking them some time, and you have to remember, arguably the three most explosive guys, Tyler Harrell from Louisville, JoJo Earl, who was having a great camp and was going to be the punt returner, and we've seen him at practice this week, and Aaron Anderson. That may be your three most explosive guys. So they're not in the mix right now. We'll see if they play against Arkansas. But a lot of these guys was the lead receiver for Georgia, but we know he wasn't the best receiving option Georgia had. That was the freakazoid Brock Bowers. So all these guys are trying to get comfortable in their own skin, comfortable in their roles, and I think Bryce is going to bring them along. But I also say this Alabama team is different in that they're 5 deep at running back. And, I truly mean that. I mean, I've nicknamed Jamarian Miller the Hammer because, to me, he's the guy that's in the second half. Alabama, in the second half, has been rushing for over 100 yards per game because they've been able to control the line of scrimmage and do something Nick Saban will always love, and take the air out of the football. And I think you have to take advantage and use these 5 running backs, and it just so happens that 2 of them, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jason McClellan, are dynamic receiving options. So I don't think this offense is ever going to remind anyone of from 18 through 20, and even 21 to a certain extent. It's not going to have the explosiveness of those groups, but I still think they'll make big plays at times. But as the season goes on, if this Alabama team is to reach their potential, this is going to be the kind of team that puts together 10, 12-play drives and controls the line of scrimmage and actually takes more pressure off of a Bryce Young so he doesn't have to be Houdini and rescue him like he did against Texas.
Drew DeArmond, our guest, and Drew, I want to tell you that Kevin Norwood is on staff at Ole Miss and doing a great job and will be a great college football coach. It is so much fun to visit with him and talk those games. And you're right, the bigger the game, the more catches he would kind of like O.J. Howard as well. And, you could forget about him for 3 or 4 week stretches, and then they would have breakout games. All right, we ended September with Bama not quite the prominence, not quite as easy as we thought September would be. Tell us how October will end. At Fayetteville against the Razorbacks, home against Texas A&M, in Knoxville 3rd Saturday of October against Tennessee, and then wrap up the month before an open date against Mississippi State. Fast forward to Nick Saban's birthday, to Nick Saban's 71st birthday party. What kind of football team will he have?
I think he's going to have one that he's very confident in. I think he's going to have one that's hopefully healthy and that's coming into its own. I certainly think they got a wake-up call at Texas. I still like Alabama 31-17 over Arkansas. I have utmost respect for Sam Pittman. I think with the job he's done, he actually doesn't get enough credit for the disaster that he took over that Chad Morris left him.
Yeah.
That program, guys, I was there in the press box in 2019 for Mac Jones' first start at Alabama. That was one of the worst football teams, and I'm talking Vanderbilt-esque football teams I've ever seen in my life. It's completely done a 180. I told everybody that Drew Sanders would be a great player for them. He's got more sacks than Will Anderson, 5.5, leading the nation, I think, coming into this game. I think they're very physical. They know who they are, but I think this Alabama team has made the right things. Now, I'll say this. We will know. I think Alabama, one of 2 things will happen. They're either going to take care of Arkansas impressively, and they're going to systematically, take care of each opponent this month, or they won't get the job done in Fayetteville, and then there's going to be some questions whether or not Alabama's even going to win the Western Division. But I think Alabama will take care of business. I think they got a special group. I think they have special leadership this year. They had a leadership vacuum a year ago. I think it's just more of guys trying to get comfortable in their roles. And I do think Alabama has the best defense in the SEC. And defense is a little bit different now. I mean, you don't hold people to 7. I know they're only giving up 7 points per game. Usually, if you play a quality opponent, you got to hold them to 17 to 20. I think they can do that in Fayetteville, and I think they're going to win the game, and I think they're going to win it impressively in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be in doubt headed into the fourth, but I think Alabama's made of the right stuff, and I think they make the plays and they move on, and then I think they get through October unscathed.
I tend to agree with you. Defensively, I mean, they're just loaded. I like DJ Dale, Byron Young, Will Anderson Jr., Toto, Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Jordan Battle is a guy that's been there for a long time that I like. But last year there was a whole lot of discussions around Pete Golding and what that defense was, and I think a lot of Alabama fans were perturbed. Do you think that is almost 180 to this point in the season, or is there still? Because I mean, even after that Texas game, which I don't think
it's always easy to blame him.
But I don't think after the Texas game, by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think that was Pete Golding's issue. I thought it was having the team ready, and offensively they just weren't locked in as much. And yeah, defensively they had some penalties, but I still heard some murmurs about how Pete Golding didn't have the team ready or his side of the ball ready. Is that a little quieter, or is that still around?
Well, 2 bad drives and it'll be back. That's all I'll say.
Right.
If Alabama's down 14-3 mid-second quarter, the firing brigade will be out. I mean, Alabama had 600 yards of offense last week, guys, against Vanderbilt, and Alabama was up 28 to 3 in the second quarter, and I got 2 messages on Twitter to fire the offensive coordinator. So I mean, I'm just saying, these Alabama fans, they kind of are extremists at times. You can't really please them unless you win each game 62-0. So I mean, but that's the way it is. Nick Saban understands that when you build the beast, you got to feed it. He knows how to feed it better than anybody, and I think for this team, this is a fork in the road game at Arkansas. They have to see how far they've come, and I'll use a Nick Saban term: hateful competitors. Are they going to silence some people in Fayetteville, or are they going to let Sam Pittman get what would be the biggest win of his career? The biggest up to this point is probably beating, Dirt Neck, a.k.a. Jimbo Fisher. That's my nickname for him. We beat him last year. But, guys, but if he beats Nick Saban, it's on a whole other level. So, certainly, they've lost 15 straight to Alabama. About 3 of those were close calls, and that was 2010, 2014, and then Alabama was trailing 7-3 in 2015, the year they won the national championship. But Alabama won them all, and this will be a huge test. But I think Alabama, I love Toa. I don't think he gets enough credit for how far he's come since the middle of last season and that high level he's playing at. I think Jalen Moody and has been unbelievable. I think Deontay Lawson behind him. There's no drop off. I just think this Alabama team is made of the right things, and I think while Arkansas is a much better program now, and Sam Pittman has them in the top, probably maybe 3 programs in the West right now, I still like Alabama better. I think they have the better roster. I think they can win this game, and I think they're going to play impressively on Saturday.
Curious, what's the situation with Eli Ricks as far as the run he's been getting? I know he was a massive transfer. They got out of LSU, certainly considered in NFL draft circles at least before this year. What's been the situation with him this year and in his playing time?
Well, I think it's a couple things. He wasn't healthy when he left LSU. And then when he got to Alabama, all they did at LSU was tell him to play man. They did not play zone. There was no discipline in the program. The culture wasn't very good when he left there. And so he's having to be reprogrammed. It almost reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember in the 2017 opener for Alabama against Dirt Neck, a.k.a. Jimbo in Florida State, when you had, one of the best cornerbacks now in the NFL, Trevon Diggs, started the game, but then one of my all-time favorite players, Levi Wallace, came in for him, got an interception, and the rest is history. Levi started the rest of the year. He's still playing in the NFL. He's still one of my all-time favorites. Diggs had to wait his turn, but, of course, once he became a starter at Alabama, he still went on to have a successful career and then become a second-round pick and is now a great player for the Cowboys. I still think Ricks has a lot of talent, but he's having to establish himself in a new program. It's one of those things where he's probably going to back up Terrion Arnold for this year. We'll see what happens going forward. But certainly I think there'll be some playing time available for him next season. But I think he's just going to have to wait his turn because, quite frankly, guys, and I didn't see it coming out of spring practice, but probably Terrion Arnold, the redshirt freshman from Tallahassee, is the most improved player on the defensive squad.
Drew, in your opinion, who is second in the East and second in the West after 1 month of football?
That is a great question. I would say after what I saw last Saturday, by a whisker, I would say Tennessee is the second best team. Even though I still don't like their defense, I think they can score more points still than Kentucky. And I love Mark Stoops and what he's done, but just by a shade, I would say Tennessee over Kentucky, and of course Georgia, the best team in the East. Alabama, the best team in the West. And I picked LSU. I'll wear it in Atlanta. I was wrong about that. They've obviously still got a ways to go. But if I had to pick the second best team right now in the SEC West, I would probably buy a shade right now. I need to see more of them. I'm going to really find out what happens on Saturday in Oxford, Mississippi, but I would say Ole Miss. I think I love Crenshaw and Judkins. Auburn is where they are because they did not recruit him, and declared Lane Kiffin and his staff for doing so. But I was a little bit bothered by their defensive performance against Tulsa, but Tulsa's an underrated program. I would say just by a shade over Arkansas. If Arkansas had beat Texas A&M, I would say Arkansas, but I think it's Ole Miss and then Arkansas.
Oh my God! And honestly, I feel like in that Arkansas A&M game, I still don't feel like the best team won. Arkansas beat them all over the field, except just made those nasty mistakes. The one on the goal line by KJ Jefferson fumbling. I mean, you take that away. Who knows how that game goes? Who knows how that game goes? I just find that amazing. Now I have to pick your brain on this. One more thing before we let you go. Watching all these Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL is interesting to me. Obviously, Mac Jones was the guy who showed up last year and made a difference for the Pats at 10-7. This year, you have the two undefeateds left: Jalen Hurts leading the Eagles and Tua leading the Dolphins. Of those two, we'll leave Mac out of the question for now. Who's your guy? Who do you think's the better quarterback when we get down to it?
Well, I'm still a Tua guy. I mean, I love Tua. Tua is still the greatest pure passer that I've ever seen at Alabama. He's been fragile. I mean, you have to say it. Injuries have been his biggest bugaboo. But you're seeing now that he has a head coach that believes in him, that understands offense, and that they surround him with some receivers similar to what he had at Alabama, a good tight end like an Irv Smith and Kadicki, and a better offensive line. Then he can put up big-time numbers. And he can even overcome egregious mistakes like he did against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore and bring them back in a great game and win. I think Jalen has improved leaps and bounds. I'll freely admit I'll wear it. I never thought he'd be a starter in the NFL.
Yep,
he's
me
certainly
neither.
become one. I mean, he's come further than I ever thought he would. But again, I'd have to say Tua if he can stay healthy, just because I just don't think you can coach the accuracy he can throw the football with. And I just think you're seeing it. Tyreek Hill is on another level. He's probably the fastest guy in pads I've ever seen. And I saw Jalen Waddle, and I think Jalen Waddle's electric. And yet I think Tyreek, his lateral quickness and his straight-line speed is unbelievable. And it's just fun to watch Tua with weapons around him in the NFL. And you get to see on the National Football League level what Alabama fans got to see, for 2.5 years in college.
Mm-hmm. And Jalen Hurts, though, I didn't think he'd be at this position, but I always know he's a worker bee. Like, he's always, every offseason, he had something to his bag. Also, the Tua situation this offseason, all the discussion around him through his first 2 years, was that ridiculously unfair, or do you think it was a little bit warranted given how he played and the injury concerns?
Well, I actually think it's unwarranted because you have to understand he shouldn't have even played as a rookie.
Right.
Because he was coming back from a hip injury that was like a car accident. And so, but the problem is the Dolphins were a train wreck, and they decided to play him and throw him in there too quick. He still did okay. And then last year, they nearly made the playoffs. And that was his first full year starting, and he had a head coach who, who's a great defensive mind, but again, didn't want him. He wanted, Justin Herbert. And he didn't understand offense. He had Chan Gailey calling plays his rookie year, which is a waste of time. And so they just didn't have the right kind of staff around him. And so I credit the Dolphins ownership. I credit, the young head coach they've hired. He's an offensive mastermind. And in the NFL, that's really what it's about. The Bill Parcells guys are going by the wayside.
That's it.
You're basically hiring either an offensive or a defensive coordinator that can manage egos to be the head coach. There's not any of these alpha dogs anymore until Sean Payton comes back. They're kind of a dying breed. And so you just need the right fit for what you have at quarterback. And right now, Tua's got a guy that believes in him. And it's a big if he can stay healthy, and he's a little banged up now, I think he can get the Dolphins to the playoffs. And I know they didn't pick up his option, but I think he can get a second contract. And I just think, if not, I'll just say this. Just watch for this, guys. If the Dolphins don't make a move and they decide maybe that they want to make go in a different direction at quarterback, he needs to be traded to the New York Giants and let Brian Daboll coach him, because that's the guy that believed in him in college.
Yep, it is. But he is talk show host in Huntsville, 97.7.
Great segment.
And he is Drew D. Armand on Twitter at DrewD977 ESPN. Drew, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys. And Gabe, it's great to be on with you and Brett. It's been a while, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank y'all very much.
Yes, sir. Let's do it again soon.
You. Tour de force. Thank you. Great appearance by Drew Darman, our friend down in the Rocket City of Huntsville. The deals are back down in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet for Chevy truck season, and you can save $1,000 on a new Silverado 1500 HD with all the accessories you can imagine. 1.9 financing is available on new Equinox, and your good credit, well, it deserves that. Or take the $1,200 in cash money. For tailgating or fall road trips, Kevin and Jeff, they're right there making it happen for all of us. Pre-order whatever you want. Check out the certified pre-owned Chevys, all the pre-owns you can imagine, all right there in Olive Branch. First exit into Mississippi, Kraft Goodman Road, you're there. Or go to allstarautogroup.com. Jeep Wranglers, Ram Laramie trucks, Grand Caravans, Tahoes. If you want to sell any car or truck, bring it to Jeff or Kevin at All-Star, and they'll write you a check today for big cash, even if you owe money against it, and you don't have to buy one of their vehicles. Gary in the All-Star Chevy Service Department has changed every drop of oil in my car I have right now. I promise you they have. They have specials on full synthetic oil changes and tire rotations, brake specials. Remember, it's not the Pike, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah, Collierville, or Bartlett. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
From one to the next, Steve Earhart, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, will join us. That's after the break.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Need, want, dream about a new ride? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 2023 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive super new SUV. Only $257 a month, 36-month lease, $29.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury and performance? 2023 Kia K5 LXS sedan. We got it at $293 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. If you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today. Plus, Gossett Kias come equipped with a 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
$650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Seltos P 738 6423, MSRP 25325, K5 950 6883, MSRP 26860. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/2022. Dealer stock only.
In the alley since 1948, the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see everything kind of getting back to normal.
Brett, we've done a lot of ads before, but maybe it's time for me to do a recap. We have valet parking at the end of our alley on Monroe. On Fridays and Saturdays, we give away our wonderful red beans and rice until it runs out. And you know we like to do things local. Miss Barbara Jackson of O Taste and See has been making these wonderful chess and pecan pies, that's pecan, not pecan, and key lime pies for dessert. And we just started serving this wonderful gelato from Sweet Magnolia Gelato Company. And just to remind everybody, you don't eat cheese and sausage with a knife and fork. You take a cracker, you put sausage on it, you put a piece of cheese on it, a little mustard or a little sauce, take a bite and chase it with the pickle. Brett, we've always been the place for all gatherings, whether they're corporate, rehearsal dinners, retirement parties, birthday parties, whatever. We seat anywhere from 20 people to 250 people. And oh, by the way, we are now open for lunch from 11 o'clock on Tuesday through Saturday. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Hey, folks, Bob Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $2,000 and interest rates low as 0%. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just a way of doing business. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Next to Sunrise Wolf Chase.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
So what if summer's coming to a close? It'll be back, and you'll be ready with a new spa. Why's that? Because the world's biggest spa sale is happening right now at Family Leisure. Right now, through October the 2nd, you will get the best ever prices on spas. Family Leisure has a large selection of spas still in stock and ready to ship, and up to 30% off. Yes, 30% off in-stock spas. You want a swim spa? Now's the time to buy with huge discounts just for you. Special financing is available. Plus, you can get free upgrades on select spas. Just ask about it. Family Leisure also has fantastic deals on saunas and massage chairs. So, while summer is coming to a close, you should be opening up to a new spa during the world's biggest spa sale happening right now through October the 2nd at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hey, Jeff Allen, it's a great day to be happy in a new Kia from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. What you got going on?
Randy, we'd love to make you happy with the all-new 2023 Kia Seltos LX all-wheel drive. Just $257 per month for 36-month lease and only $29.99 due at signing. Or how about a 2023 Kia Sportage LX front-wheel drive, $287 per month for 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. You got me happy.
And listen, Randy, if you don't see what you want, no problem. We will order exactly the perfect ride for you, and you choose your own bells and whistles.
Plus, equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Siltos P738 6423, MSRP 25325. Sportage P709 8842, MSRP 27955. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/2022. Dealer stock only.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Run to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. We are working. We should get Stats back momentarily, but we have some technical difficulties with him. But while we're waiting to get him back, let's bring on the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Steve Earhart. Steve, how are you? It looks like we're 3 months to basically the second from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Boy, I tell you, this season is just flying by. And what a season it is so far. I mean, you know, I know you guys talk of serious football there on your show. I admire and appreciate it. And, you know, looking at the kind of parity of they talk about having parity in the NFL. They talk about the parity with Division II teams beating Division I teams, and, you know, lesser leagues, the Fun Belt. And, you know, it's really been an amazing year. But we're really gearing up. In fact, a week from Wednesday, we are going to be announcing who will be the head coaches and the assistant coaches in our AutoZone Libertyville High School All-Star Game on December 12th. And not December 12th, but October 12th. That's a week from Wednesday. And then, of course, the game is in December. But, you know, some great high school football going on here in Memphis as well. So, yeah, between watching the college games and preparing and having our events coming up, we're ready for December 28th for sure.
We're getting close, and Steve, we've been thinking about it for years. The very real prospect of Kansas being in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for the first time since 1973. David Jane at quarterback.
Hey, Stats, you just must have read my mind. You have that power of ESP because we have our weekly newsletter, which we send out to about 14,000 people, and we're just finishing drafting it right now. And here's the headline. We've got Kansas and Iowa State face off in Big 12 battle of potential AutoZone Liberty Bowl teams. We've got a picture of Lance Leopold, the Kansas head coach, 4-0, and we say the undefeated Kansas Jayhawks host the Iowa State Cyclones this year. Kansas last appeared in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in 1973 against Lou Holtz and his North Carolina State team, and they haven't been to a bowl game since the 2008 Orange Bowl. So if we could be lucky to get Kansas and all those folks coming driving south, it's always a good thing when they're driving south here to come to Memphis for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So you must have read our mind. So we'll have to give you credit for our big press release tomorrow about that game with Kansas.
I remember the 73 game well. Stan Fritz at fullback for Lou Holtz's Wolfpack that night against Kansas. Steve, Nick Carparelli, the executive director of bowl season, he's out there advocating for the early rounds of the new playoff to be integrated into existing bowl sites. Do you think that will happen? And has the AutoZone Liberty Bowl made a proposal to get in a mix of maybe rotating in those games in that early part?
You're a doggone mind reader here. I mean, an hour ago, Nick Copperly was on the phone with me about that very same thing. I mean, what have you got a pipeline over here at our office? But, you are really wonder. And you want your listeners to know you do have one of those photographic memories. You can remember everything about who played in that game in '73. You're unbelievable. But yes, that is a very interesting question. When the original group came up with the 12-team playoff over a year ago, and it was Craig Thompson from Mountain West, commissioner, who'd been here at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl several times, and Bob Bowlesby, the retired now commissioner. And incidentally, Craig Thompson announced his retirement as well, and then, of course, Greg Sankey, and then the Notre Dame athletic director. So their plan originally was to have the first four games, in other words, number 5, 6, 7, and 8 hosting the teams number 9, 10, 11, and 12 at their home facility on the campus. And then the following week, when they would have the quarterfinals, by that time, the first four seeds had a bye, and then there would be quarterfinal games. The winners of the first round would play in the New Year's Six bowl games. There's 4 of those games in the quarterfinals, and then 2 of the games in the semifinals, and those would soak up the now what we call the New Year's Six bowl games, which is what Sugar, Orange, Cotton, Fiesta, Atlanta, and so we actually brought it up. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl says, well, what about those first 4 games? And, a lot of the ADs were pushing to have at the home campus. That would be their reward for finishing 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, getting a home game.
Yep.
And those ADs were promoting that we could attach that to our season ticket list, the potential of hosting the first round of the playoffs. But what we've countered back with through Nick Copperelli, who's the head of our bowl association, with all the bowls, all 42 bowls are members, saying that the bowls should be able to bid and host those first 4 games. And we said here from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and to answer your question, yes, we would like to be able to bid in that process. We have a good geographical location for a lot of teams. It would be neutral territory. We'd be able to be ready with the hotels and all the arrangements because we would know the date. We wouldn't know the teams, but the hometown of the team, say, finished number 5, wouldn't know until the selection. So they'd only have a week to get ready for a major event. But it's going to be a close issue. I think a lot of the ADs want to have that home field advantage. But then you've got, say, an SEC team, and I'll ask you this question, you guys. I'm not sure the SEC teams are going to want to go up and play December 15th in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or in Madison, Wisconsin. And so I think the northern teams are
football.
Have that.
You got to get the higher seed then, right?
Yeah, so that's where I'd like to hope, and that's why Nick Copperelli, on all our behalfs, sent that letter. Yes, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl would like to be involved in that, but I do want to let everybody know that even if that doesn't work out, the same number of teams are going to be available to our bowl, to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, because right now, even though there's only, a 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, there's still 12 teams that are selected out by the playoff committee, which go fill those New Year's 6 bowl games. So we don't get any of those 12 teams anyway. So there's no difference in the teams that will be available, and the universities still need good quality locations like Memphis to have bowl games to reward teams that are, let's look at, say, Kentucky here playing. They haven't sniffed. Maybe this year they will if they win Saturday, but they haven't sniffed a shot in the playoffs yet. So they still need a good place for their team and their constituency to come play in a bowl game. So we will still have a full bowl season. All the bowls will still, because those universities still need that. It can't be all about just those 12 teams that are in the playoffs. So we'll still have our game in a traditional time zone, even if it doesn't work out to be a host in that early playoff situation.
And the bowl season and where we're at with college football, it's just there's some evolution going on, and I'm ready to see the final result, and we'll have a lot more clarity as we go forward with that. Now, how about the team holding down the venue as of right now? What do you think about the hometown Tigers so far this year?
Yeah, well, I've been to both games. Well, I actually 3 of them. I went to a Mississippi State game, which right. They were a little overrun there. There's no hiding that fact, but I think they're making progress. I'm still a little bit concerned, and Gabe, you'll be an expert at this. Do they have enough big, tough, knock you down kind of linemen on both sides of the ball to be real competitors for the title? But we'll see, and I think. I still don't know how the odds makers have got the Tigers as a 19.5 point favorite. Temple played Rutgers pretty close, and is there something that I'm missing there, you two guys, on why the Tigers are such a big favorite in that game on Saturday?
I couldn't tell you, honestly.
I'm surprised too, Steve.
Really
and all these big point spreads. I saw it last Saturday in Oxford with Ole Miss over Tulsa, and Ole Miss, it took 60 minutes for them to shake loose from them. That was a ball game.
But Vegas wins. I'll say that much. Vegas does win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vegas wins.
And that's why I say, but your point there is a good one, Stats. I mean, there's very little difference, between the middle of the top echelon. I'm not going to say that Alabama and Georgia aren't just, they've got every one of those linemen is 6'5" and 300 pounds and walks around like they're going to crush you, So they're in kind of a group apart. But the middle of the pack. Look at Kansas State going toe to toe. They got beat by Tulane, who's a member of the American Conference, at Manhattan, Kansas. Then the very next week they go to Oklahoma and 100,000 people down there and beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma. And so the schools like University of Memphis and Tulane, Tulsa, they can carry their own here. Now, they're going to get worn down by the season, and they don't have the kind of depth. That's always been my opinion. Late in the season, teams like Georgia and Alabama, they got a lot of depth. Their second-string offensive guard is pretty close to the first-team offensive guard, and he steps in, and that's where I think you get some separation there. But I think at any moment in time, and with Georgia Southern winning and Eastern Michigan and things like this. So it's great for college football, and I think it's really been important this last couple of months here as people were deciding about, are they going to be mega conferences with only the big guys, the rich guys, or is there a place for a team like Tulsa? Tulsa's like, 3,500 students, something like that, one of the smallest schools.
Including grad students.
Yeah, and yet they come in here and give Ole Miss everything they want there at the Grove, and Wake Forest. Again, they're in the ACC, but that's a very small school. But then you get the schools that are in the American, which of course Memphis is a member of. And they're going to jump up and knock you down here many times. So it's really good that, and I think that's helped this decision when the presidents got together and said, let's go to the 12-team playoff and back down the Big Ten and the Pac-12. And remember, they were arguing and say, well, we got to have our champion guaranteed, but yet the result came out. It's the 6 conference champions that are highest ranked, which gives an opportunity for Sun Belt and American Conference and Mountain West to have a team that could knock out the Pac-12 or the Big Ten champion for seeding. So it's been great, and I think that sent a good note in for all Memphis fans, and you probably talked about it, but the fact that now the highest ranked of the Group 5 champion can get in that automatic seed gives Memphis a great opportunity to get in the game. And I'm telling some folks that are they better? I know they lust to be into the Big 12, but if they're finishing in the middle of the Big 12, they're never going to sniff an opportunity to play in the playoffs. But if they win the American Conference, they're right there in there, just like they got to the Cotton Bowl a few years ago. So I think this is a very positive thing for the University of Memphis. So if they can keep running, and I don't know if they can beat Temple by 19.5, but I'm proud of them. I think Ryan's doing a good job. Yeah,
but
so, it's.
I share your sentiment, though. I love the access. I absolutely love the access, and the Tigers at the top of that conference. I mean, when you look at the remade conference with North Texas, UAB, all these teams coming in, I feel like you look at Memphis and SMU, UAB, maybe potentially UTSA. They could all be sort of jockeying for those spots. But always appreciate it, Steve. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you guys there, and certainly December 28th is fast arriving, and, of course, we'll have all our events with our team welcome parties, the parades, the rodeos, the activities down on Beale Street. So, and then you'll see, and I always remember last week, both of you, before you sign out, give me your projection, because in our blast tomorrow, we've got a lot of different projections. So are you projecting Kansas stats?
No, I'm staying with Auburn and West Virginia for now. I'm staying with my preseason pick.
So I think I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go Florida. And I'm going to go, let's say Iowa State, Florida, Iowa State.
How about that?
Okay, well, that's an interesting one. Iowa State brings a huge crowd here, and of all 14 SEC teams, we've never had Florida. That's the only one we've never had.
The Iowa State fans,
tomorrow on the blast.
We just have to make sure we have the bush light down on Beale, and they'll be all taken care of. Steve,
we can get that, can't we, Steve?
Yeah, we can handle that.
Have enough bush on, and they did. Every club down on Beale Street ran out of bush light. That was the beer of choice of the Iowa State Cyclones, and you better be stocked up with it. So
we can make it faster than they can drink it.
Well, there's a lot. There's everything from Arkansas, Ole Miss, Auburn, LSU, South Carolina. As these are projections by all the hotshot national guys, and then on the other side, it's Kansas State, Texas, and Texas Tech. Now, that's 24/7 sports, because I don't think we'll have Texas Tech again, so I discount them. They must not know what they're doing there. So, but anyway, you guys I want to put you two guys up against all these national guys from CBS and ESPN and all that kind of stuff. So I'm writing it down every week. Now, you can change week to week depending on what happens on Saturday.
You got it. Steve, thank you so much.
Soon.
We really appreciate it. Thank you, Steve Earhart, our friend from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and we will have a great AutoZone Liberty Bowl December the 28th. And before that, let Jason's Deli do all the catering for any big events you have. That's going to be a big event come December 28th. But any big events you have, let Jason's Deli do all the work. Any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, save all the time and trouble, and let Jason's Deli do the work. Locations at Park Place, Poplar and Highland, Cordova and Olive Branch. Breakfast packages, hot breakfast choices like the breakfast sandwich box serves 12 ham, sausage, fresh cracked eggs, the flatbread breakfast box, the sunshine breakfast box, sandwich boxes. Go to jasonsdeli.com to see all of it. The sandwich trays, the hot meals, desserts, drinks, everything you can think of. That cookie platter, that cookie tray, it is outstanding. Whether you need to feed 5 or 5,000, let the experienced team at Jason's Deli deliver for you. If you're feeling hassled and frenetic about last-minute decision-making, that's when they thrive. That's when they excel. Let them do it. Locations in Park Place, Olive Branch, Poplar and Highland, and Cordova. The commitment to variety, value, and quality ingredients means you can feel great about choosing Jason's Deli Catering for all 3 meals.
We have to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 2.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Buying a home? Then you've got a lot on your mind. Getting pre-approved, your credit score, closing costs, now rising rates? Phew, it's so much. But with Rocket, you get an advantage. You can lock your rate for 90 days while you search for a home. That's 3 months to shop for your dream home without worrying about rising rates because yours is totally safe. And it gets even better. Let's say rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase. You'll get exclusive savings from Rocket Mortgage when you refinance to a new lower rate. So what are you waiting for? Rocket has your back if rates rise in the short term and if they fall in a few years. So you can lock it and drop it with Rocket, your partner to help you buy today and be certain about tomorrow. That's the Rocket Advantage. Lock your rate now. Call 8337-ROCKET or go to therocketadvantage.com. That's 8337-ROCKET or go to therocketadvantage.com.
Must lock purchase rate between 7/19/22 and 9/30/22. Call 1-8337-ROCKET for coverage fees, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS-ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, but now I got Rolling Stones in the bezel.
Back rolling Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. Hit us up at the listener line, 901-360-8255. One of our favorite commenters, one of our favorite texters, chimes in about Iowa State and says you need 8 times the amount of Busch Light if you think the Cyclones are going to be here. You do.
Their fans are so good how they show up. You almost wish they would be the permanent Big 12 rep.
They're very nice. They took over, too, weirdly.
And they're so nice.
When they were here and they beat us late in my final game at the Liberty Bowl, the final game in college, they took over Beale Street. I mean, they were everywhere. You couldn't turn without seeing them.
And they'll drink Busch Light out of a shoe.
I think less than that. Shoes nice.
Yeah.
Shoes real nice.
I don't know if I ever had a Busch Light.
It's
Busch Bavarian.
Is that a thing? Or is that just
that's
really?
what it was called.
Busch
Yeah.
Bavarian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was actually Busch Bavarian. That's
where they all came from.
But no, Busch Light's it's water beer. It's not good.
They got to St. Louis making beer and selling soap, and look which one won.
Also in college football, this was sort of mentioned a little bit by Drew DeArmond, but Texas A&M keeps cleaning up on the recruiting trail. They land another 5-star, number 17 overall recruit, according to the ESPN 300, David Hicks. And David Hicks is out of Katy, Texas. Chose him over Alabama, Miami, Michigan State, Oklahoma, all of the big schools. But all of this recruiting news when it comes to A&M, I'm not saying it falls.
I'm numb to it.
I'm not going to say it falls on deaf ears, but I don't care. I don't care as much.
I don't either.
It's just like
show me. Win in John Harden's Burr months.
We're on the same exact page. And like Jimbo, I know he's a national championship winning guy, but recruiting, with all due respect, recruiting is not the only thing that wins in the SEC. You have to develop and you have to reload.
And get better on Tuesday and Wednesday in season.
Recruiting could potentially win you the ACC if you're good enough at it. Recruiting could potentially win you the Big 12 if you're good enough at it. Recruiting on face value does not beat Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. It just doesn't.
Recruiting in the SEC can get you in more trouble with your fans quicker when you don't back it up with winning in the Burr months.
So we'll see. We'll see. That loss against App State already's nasty. Already nasty.
Barely beat Miami and
shouldn't it? Really shouldn't.
Darn Arkansas game.
Shouldn't have beat Arkansas, but they beat Arkansas. You got to give them credit where credit's due. Now, there's no place in Memphis I'd rather go to for a night out with friends or a bite to eat than Bell Tavern. It's open 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday, 2 to 8 p.m. on Sunday. And you know about 117 Prime on Union? All you do is walk through the dining room and you access the best bar in Memphis. It's the perfect place to start your night with a gourmet bite to eat, burger sandwiches and starters, and end your night with the coldest beer in town. I truly mean that. And craft cocktails that you can only find in Barbaro Alley, tucked in between 2nd and Main. For information daily, have 2 ways of finding them. Go to belltavern.com. Again, that's belltavern.com. Or call this number. I'll repeat it for you, 901-249-6580. Again, that's 901-249-6580. It is Bell Tavern. Well, we're through 2 hours. Quick 2 hours on this Wednesday. Our number 3 is on the way, and we have to talk about, we already talked Miami, Arkansas. That's going to be the CBS game, SEC on CBS game. Now we have to talk about UK, Kentucky versus Ole Miss, and a top 15 matchup. Nick Roush is next.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Golfers, now in Edwin Watts Golf Shops, it's time to hit faster, longer, and straighter with Titleist. The new TSR drivers are designed to maximize distance and elevate your performance. Titleist TSR driver, pushing for perfection every day. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Titleist TSR drivers and get custom fit for free today. Can't make it in store? Visit us online at worldwidegolfshops.com. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee and family owned and operated since 1968.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat is ready with Power Days deals on Covington Pike. It's time to make all your wishes come true, so come by. Pick out your ride and Gossett will get it ordered just for you. At Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat, you'll get exactly what you want and at the price you want. No hassle, no extra charges, no market adjustments. You will not pay more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Plus, you can take your pick from 22 Jeep Cherokee Latitude 4x4 or 22 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman 4x2. Now $519 a month. Get it while the getting's great at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett on the Pike or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 4.5% APR, 3,500 down. Cherokee ND 522,552, MSRP 38,785. Ram NS 171,35, MSRP 39,745. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/22. Dealer stock only.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so dead. 5 o'clock hour is here. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Brian Davis, of course, in the Family Leisure Studios with me producing the program. And joining us via the phone line is Nick Roush at Roush KSR on Twitter from Kentucky Sports Radio, and 7 to 9 at Big X Sports Radio in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Very, very close to Louisville, Kentucky. Nick, how are you, man? You doing well?
I'm doing great. I'm disappointed that I'm not going to be making a pit stop this weekend in Memphis. I got a baby en route.
Rock on, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but I was hoping to see you in Oxford Saturday. That's a big one, 7 versus 14, and the winner gets to tell a lot of people clam up, and I'm afraid even the winner, unfortunately, Nick, will still have to kind of be explaining itself next week.
No, it's definitely the case where I don't know why they've done this. I think people just say that Anthony Richardson was hurt, so the UK win at Florida didn't count, and that's why they're writing it off. Like,
that's
Tennessee's win at home mattered over Florida, but Kentucky's didn't. So you do make a good point, Brett, where I think that, like, both teams are undefeated, but neither is really getting a ton of credit. They're calling this top 25 matchup, but they aren't, this isn't LSU versus A&M, right? Like, this is Ole Miss and Kentucky, and despite Ole Miss's success, under Hugh Freeze, and, you had those moments, neither school is really looked at as one of these SEC Goliaths. So,
and look, at TV kind of stuck in the old JP spot.
Yeah. And now, granted, they have changed it up a little bit where now ESPN wants to rival the Big Noon Saturday. But I know that everybody's disappointed down there in the Grove, especially Kentucky fans, where I'm telling you guys, out of all the years that I've been doing this, never heard of more people saying they're going to a UK road game. I know that a few might have gotten scared off by the 11 a.m. kickoff because they wanted the Grove and all its glory, right? First time in 12 years.
Yeah.
UK's been down there. But I expect 10 to 15,000 Kentucky fans. It's going to be a Grove Street party if the Big Blue Nation has its way.
And you can count on a wild game between those two. That 2010 game in Kentucky was loaded, just horribly coached that day by Joker Phillips. They were loaded. Ole Miss got out with I think 42-38 win. COVID year, wild up at Kroger. 2017, wild at Kroger. This is going to be. I think this is a team with the ball last type game.
Well, and if you go back, to the only other time Lane Kiffin played Kentucky, when he was at Tennessee, they had Randall Cobb and 5 yards to go and didn't give us the ball. UK ended up losing in overtime. So, it has a way of getting kind of crazy. But I do think in this case, for the first time in a long time, Kentucky definitively has the better quarterback. And, Jackson Dart, obviously the jury's still out on him. And he can become a great player, but this is going to be the biggest game he's ever played in. And if you're Kentucky and you're getting yourself in a shootout in the second half, I think you're taking Will Levis in Kentucky in that scenario.
Yeah, and it's interesting. For Ole Miss, they have ran the ball an inordinate amount. And you knew they would. They bring in Ulysses Bentley, who hasn't even gotten rushes, but Quinshon Judkins, Zach Evans. They're up around 300 yards per game on
quarterback
the ground.
runs.
And Jackson Dart even got involved last week. It's going to be interesting for them, though, because I think as far as defenses they've seen so far, Kentucky is unreasonably stout compared to what they've seen.
Yeah, and the Mark Stoops defenses, they really pride themselves on stopping the run first and then limiting big plays. It's kind of their MO. And Kentucky's defense has two linebackers in the middle that are, they were on the SEC All-Freshman team in 2018 with Jordan Davis. They've played a lot of football. They've been starters for a long time. And Jacquez Jones, Kentucky's leading tackler, used to be on the other sideline. So having that experience there, particularly the way that Ole Miss runs their misdirection, I just have a hunch that the Cats are going to be pretty good at slowing down this Ole Miss rushing attack. The one position where I might be kind of concerned is that Ole Miss they spread you out, right? That Kentucky can't go big with their outside linebackers. So Alex Safari, a true freshman from Cincinnati, he's their starting nickel. He's been a stud. He's led the Cats in tackles, I think, twice. He's been really talented for him, but he's just a true freshman, right? And those guys, they can fall for the shiny lures, the deception that Ole Miss is going to try out. So, but I think ultimately, if Kentucky stops the run, you're not going to stop it all the way. If you slow it down enough, right? If you get Ole Miss under 230, 225 rushing yards, it's going to be hard for the Rebels to win the game.
So coming into the year, Kentucky, the big question was playmakers on the outside with Wandale Robinson outgoing and what he meant. And we knew that that Tavion Robinson was going to be a guy that stepped up, and he has. But Dane Key is another guy who showed himself and showed what he's able to do against Florida. Do you think that some of those questions have been answered, or are you still sort of waiting and seeing?
Yeah, it's one of those things where they are who we thought they were, but you still wanted to see it.
Right.
Because Kentucky's been snake bit by this receiver is going to be good and this receiver is going to be good. I mean, Barryon Brown, the kid from Nashville Pearl Cone High School, I mean, it was just he had a 70-yard touchdown last week, and as soon as he caught it, you were like, okay, he's gone. He just has a gear where you just can't be caught, right? And so what I'm really curious, because Rich Scangarillo, he prides himself as, being able to play a cat and mouse game, right? Mm-hmm. And I typically he kind of wants to wait to take some shots. I think he's going to try to take some shots early with Otis Reese out in that first half. I just got a hunch that he's going to try to get him before Reese get back in the game.
Yeah, Reese got kicked out of the game Saturday for targeting Nick Roush, our guest from Kentucky Sports Radio. And Nick, with the job that Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky, everybody is by now has been awakened to it and lauding him properly for finally passing Coach Bear Bryant. You pass Bear Bryant anything, you've done a good job in what he's done year in and year out with his team. What's the one job out there that if that school popped up interested in him would scare Nick Roush?
I think it would be Ohio State. And
well, that's not opening.
See, and that's like the weird thing about where we're at right now. I think if I had to say another one, it would be Iowa.
Yeah.
But even because it's his alma mater, if you coach there, you coach for 30 years. But even then, I feel like Stoops is the guy at Kentucky, right? And I don't think he can ever be the guy anywhere else. So he'll joke he's heavily invested in a local bourbon company. I think he's doing all right for himself in Lexington, and we might have reached the point in his career where he's pretty content at where he's at.
So, and my brother works in Iowa, does radio out there, went to the University of Iowa, and he always talks about when that job opens up. Brian Ferentz used to be the guy that they thought would take over, but that is gone by the wayside with the offense and how he's run that, and we don't need that much nepotism. But he and a lot of people in Iowa feel confident that Mark Stoops would take that job. You're not as sold on that?
Well, and it certainly worries me to an extent. But the other thing that I think getting to know Stoops a little bit better, and then considering, his dad died of a heart attack basically on the football field. And I think that is stuck with those Stoops brothers. We saw Bob walked away from football early. Like, he's never really been all the way out of it. But he retired earlier than many expected. And I have a feeling that that's probably like Mark Stoops probably has 5-6 more years, and then he's just going to be like, all right, I can be a retired guy. I think Mark Stoops can be a retired guy, and ultimately that's why I think he probably won't be chasing another job anytime soon.
Yeah. Now, Chris Rodriguez Jr. back, and that was I don't know if you ever got to the full bottom of what the situation has been this entire time, but regardless, he's back on the field. How is that a massive deal? Do you think that is a big deal? Cavassier Smoke has held down the fort for the most part, but Chris Rodriguez was coming into this year going to be one of the premier backs in the SEC.
Yeah, it's one of those things that Kentucky's offensive line is no secret. It hasn't been the offensive line of old. Only 2 schools have allowed more sacks than Kentucky so far this season, and the running game is near the bottom, if not at the very bottom of the SEC. And simply put, Chris Rodriguez changes all of that. And I know, yes, a running back still needs a hole to run through, but the last time we saw him run the ball, it was against Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. It was a broken play. Should have got tackled for a loss of 5, throws the guy to the ground, and then rushes 11 yards in the end zone. Like, that's the kind of stuff he can do. And I'm really curious how they use him in this game and to what extent, particularly in that outside zone. That's not necessarily been his specialty, but the defense that Ole Miss runs and the way that I could see them leaning on him some, But where it's really going to help more so than anything, it's on my to-do list tomorrow to actually count up the amount of play action snaps they've done. But play action is a huge part of this offense, and they just haven't been able to do it because nobody's honored it. Nobody's respected it. They're like, well, I mean, why do we have to sell out to honor the run? We can just go after Will Levis every single play. So they haven't. That part of that game has been taken out. And when Chris Rodriguez is back in it, you got to respect it, or else he could pop a run for 60 yards and score a touchdown.
Nick, the summertime spat feud between Mark Stoops and John Calipari, time has a way of fixing everything, and winning has a way of fixing everything. John Calipari building toward Big Blue Madness, Kentucky's Midnight Madness. They started it. They perfected it. Is it over and all's well that ends well? Go football team from a John Calipari perspective?
I think so, but I also get the sense, too, that Stoops is kind of putting pressure on John Calipari to deliver. Even though they're not playing right now, nobody's really talking a whole lot about him. And, Cal likes to be in the center of attention. That's how he operates. So the more that Mark Stoops wins, if he comes out and he gets a win in here and he keeps hanging around that top 5, and ESPN is writing articles. They had Chris Lowe there. They had, Adam Rittenberg. I mean, there's been a lot of fanfare this week for the Kentucky football program. If that hangs around for a while, you might see Cal kind of go out of his way to toot his own team's horn just to try to steal back some of that spotlight. So while any sort of public chirping is going, I do think there might be some undertones that directly impact some of John Calipari's actions this upcoming season.
How much year to year does the attention turn toward basketball when we get into the later months of the football season?
I mean, it's one of those things where that's probably the greatest impact that Mark Stoops has had on this program is that
people stay locked in.
Yeah, people stay locked in, and now we treat it more like the rest of the country now. Whereas, DJ Wagner, DeJuan's son, he's visiting. We found out today he's visiting Kentucky for Big Blue Madness. He's not visiting. Like, that's great news. That's awesome. They would typically dominate the conversation, but instead, that's like a fun thing, but everybody else is more worried about going down to Oxford and getting a win. You particularly see it, like, folks will get fired up for the Champions Classic, but they're still locked in to what the Kentucky football team's doing. That's one of the more remarkable things that Mark Stoops has been able to accomplish in Lexington.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the SEC as a whole, East and West, that we always talk about who's number 2. In the East, do you think it's Kentucky, or I think it's sort of that two-horse race now with Kentucky and Tennessee? And in the West, who do you think it is?
Yeah. Going into the season, I thought it would be Mississippi State, but they've just really Mike Leached themselves so much. And I kind of think it's Arkansas still. A&M, just something about them. I just don't. It's just ugly. It's like a weird win ugly thing. I don't really get it. But in the East is such a because if you look at it from a broad perspective, right? Like this, if Kentucky loses this game, they can still control their own destiny if they go down there and win at Tennessee. That game is just going to be so huge, and that's why there was a ton of folks cheering for Florida last week, because that could have knocked Tennessee out of the race. Just from Kentucky having the tiebreaker, they've got to go to Alabama, they got LSU too. Like they have a pretty difficult schedule. So, I still am under the belief that Kentucky has a higher floor. It was great to see how bad Tennessee's defense still is. They're still not great. I think Kentucky has a more complete team, but ultimately that's because of I just think that this offense has really only scratched the surface without Chris Rodriguez. So really, a lot of judgment is going to come down Saturday on the new offensive coordinator, Rich Scangarello. Now it's his time to put his foot on the gas and really unleash this offense. Will Levis has taken his game to the next level. The receivers are playing great. Now Kentucky needs to start putting together complete games offensively, and then I'll start believing them as the second best team in the East.
One more basketball question. This year for John Calipari, any Kentucky exit from the NCAA tournament whether it's in a Monday Final 2 game or a Saturday Final 4 or the week before in the Elite Eight, it's always excruciating and very hurtful to a very prideful and fan base that expects to win. What do you think the reasonable John Calipari needs to get to what point of March, April 2023 of the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I really think it's Final Four bust. Like, if it's anything short of that, people are going to be really ticked off because you've got the defending National Player of the Year. You got 2 future lottery picks that are freshmen. Jacob Toppin and Damian Collins are both pros. Like, the expectations plus the drought, right? Like, so, March Madness is random, and we can accept that for some of it, but you can't accept it time and time again. And now it's going on 7-8 years since that 2015 run. Fans are hungry for at least a Final Four, and I think everybody will rightfully be disappointed if they don't get at least to that final weekend of the college basketball season.
And he's got that. He's got a really good mix of some veteran talent and some young guys coming in, which he generally speaking has. But last year, I how inexplicable was that to you, just to see sort of how that turned out against St. Peter's?
I didn't even it's one of those things too where I feel like I have a good sense of when it's coming, right? Like when it's going to get bad, when it's going to get ugly. And I really just was waiting for them to turn it on and just win by 9. Up until about 3 minutes left in overtime, there was a couple really bad possessions. And you're like, oh wow, they're going to lose this game. That was, befuddling is just not even the right word. It's only the beginning of it.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, I know that there's a little bit of feud between Kentucky and Memphis fans, just considering Calipari, Penny Hardaway, how these basketball programs are. But crisis averted here in Memphis. You see that? You see that yesterday? How about it?
Dodged a bullet. And you know what? Here's the thing. As much as Penny obviously did cheat, you don't have Mike Miller burn the tapes unless there was something on him, right? Like it's where there's smoke, there's fire. But here's the thing, though. Who cares? You've got an organization that you've already said is going to be defunct, laying down the law.
Right.
Why should they have any teeth at all? Like, get them the hell out of here. As far as I'm concerned, I just want Bill Self and his bad hairpiece to get caught. Like, they need to have their win stripped. They need to have all their stuff taken down. Get him. He's been Adidas man long before Louisville ever tried to. It's time that he pays the piper, and for other people to realize and recognize him as the cheatingest cheater, or not the cheater, but one of the cheatingest cheaters who ever cheated.
And what is cheating now?
But that's what I'm saying, Nick. Is I think for the NCAA and IARP to rule the way they did, the tone for me, yes, okay. By definition of the laws that have been laid down, the Tigers cheated because Penny was a booster and he paid $11,500. In the end of the day, the fish that need to be fried are way bigger than what Penny Hardaway did, than what he got caught doing at the very least.
Right. I didn't know he was an eligible player. Plead ignorance all you want, Penny, but that is, it was what, mostly moving expenses and stuff?
It was,
he didn't get caught doing, what maybe could have been worse.
It wasn't FBI
right?
wiretaps. It wasn't that type of thing, right?
Yeah. So, you know what?
Wasn't Sean Miller.
Wasn't Will Wade.
You. Right. Yeah. Oh, gosh, Will Wade. Man, they actually kept him for a year after that. That was wild.
And know what's funny about Will
Proud
Wade?
of him for 10 months of that year.
And he never, ever changed. Even when the whole HBO doc came out,
indignant,
he just consistent. He was him. Maybe he's not the greatest guy, but I give him credit for being on brand the entire time.
Hey, go down swinging, right?
Right. I guess so. But Nick, always appreciate it, man. We'll see how this game goes this weekend.
It's been a pleasure. I'm confident in the Cats, but anything can happen on any given Saturday, especially when these two teams meet.
No question about it.
Thank you, Nick. So fun. We'll catch up again soon. Thank you so much. Nick Roush with Kentucky Sports Radio, talking Ole Miss and Kentucky Saturday, and as always, talking Big Blue basketball. At DeSoto Auto Sales, you need to go down to Goodman Road and see them. because they have very, very high standards, and all the cars test-driven and thoroughly examined by their great and competent staff. Checked out from bumper to bumper. They have an unlimited inventory at 5704 Goodman Road, and you can see all the beautiful cars online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Every make, every model. If by chance they don't have it, they'll go find the special car you want just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like family by a kind, courteous staff, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment, and they know we live in a world today that time really matters. We're that rushed, and that's why they keep it so simple and so streamlined. They call it the ultimate car experience, and it's a fact. You walk in, find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee every time at DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online to DeSotoAutoSales.com and read those testimonials and look at those beautiful cars, or visit them at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Come on down to DeSoto County, to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience.
30 minutes left in the show. Still got a few things to get to. Stick with us.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
So what if summer's coming to a close? It'll be back, and you'll be ready with a new spa. Why's that? Because the world's biggest spa sale is happening right now at Family Leisure. Right now, through October the 2nd, you will get the best ever prices on spas. Family Leisure has a large selection of spas still in stock and ready to ship, and up to 30% off. Yes, 30% off in-stock spas. You want a swim spa? Now's the time to buy with huge discounts just for you. Special financing is available. Plus, you can get free upgrades on select spas. Just ask about it. Family Leisure also has fantastic deals on saunas and massage chairs. So, while summer is coming to a close, you should be opening up to a new spa during the world's biggest spa sale happening right now through October the 2nd at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. Real question to both of you guys. You ever played pickleball?
Never. Interesting that you asked that. We had that discussion earlier, didn't we?
We did.
Brian?
You ever played pickleball? Yes or no? I remember.
I have not. I've been invited to play.
Okay. All right.
It's a booming sport.
And I asked Brian earlier.
I guess so. I played it in like high school gym classes, that type of thing.
Well, I haven't.
In Germantown,
indoor or outdoor sport? I asked that earlier.
Sport.
Well, it can be indoor too.
It's both. But Germantown converted like 2 or 3 tennis courts into pickleball courts because so many people wanted to play.
Well, that's a good move.
That's a lot.
Tennis is dead.
Also, that's a lot of.
Whoa, Brett! I love playing tennis.
Really? You're a tennis
yeah.
guy?
Me and Melinda go out there a lot and hit the tennis.
You say that they converted tennis courts
good.
into pickleball. That's a lot of pickleball courts. That's like 4 pickleball
Yeah, I think
courts.
it might have been like 2 pickleball courts and they converted them into like 4 or 8. Like, it's crazy.
You guys know why I'm asking, though, right?
Yes.
LeBron investing in Major League Pickleball?
No, I didn't know that was the thing. That's
LeBron.
I didn't either.
LeBron has given a massive investment into Major League Pickleball. Like, why? I mean, I guess he's supporting friends. I don't know. Is he a big pickleball guy?
So is
I feel
pickleball
it'd be hard
like
to play pickleball at
badminton?
6'8". It's in between tennis and badminton, I guess.
There's less movement.
Can you drink during it?
Sure, you can drink during anything, Brett. I mean, why are we limiting ourselves?
Well, I mean, you can at golf, but you can at tennis.
Well, they drink beers during marathons because apparently that's good for getting your caloric intake.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I hear. So I could get out there and run a marathon.
Could I pull or strain anything if I played pickleball?
Oh yeah. You have to
torn Achilles.
It's tight.
Torn ham.
It's tight quarters.
Can't play then.
It's tight quarters tennis. Tight quarters tennis.
Could I get hit by the racket, opposing racket?
Opposing,
like in
well, if they
racquetball?
let go of it. No, I mean you'd be all right. It's just quick. It's close quarters tennis is the way I'd explain it.
I'm going to be
with like
have
a
either
wiffle
y'all
ball.
ever played?
It's kind of a wiffle.
Have y'all
ball.
ever played racquetball?
No.
I've tried.
Way too much energy.
Ball's flying around.
And tight. I mean, I'm not claustrophobic at all, but I mean, you're in there on top of each other.
Yeah, I got to figure out LeBron's investment in Major League Pickleball.
I'm not going to lie.
I got buddies that love playing.
I'm reading these
I didn't know they had
names.
Major League Pickleball, though. They apparently,
I'm on the team
I
website
didn't know
right
they
now.
had minor league pickleball until about 2 years ago.
I was also reading that they expanded the Major League Pickleball from 12 to 16 teams and needed an influx of money. Who knew?
Go! I pray so hard we don't get a team in Memphis.
Come on.
Well, I don't know if these teams are necessarily city-based, but the names are really giving off LIV vibes.
Let's hear the names. Come on.
I'll give you a couple of the Fives.
Cavassier Smoke.
The Jackrabbits. ATX Pickleballers. Mad Drops Pickleball Club. Clean Calls. Chimeras. The Bus. Ooh, I like that name. Florida Smash.
What is y'all's
Ranchers?
What is y'all's guilty sport? Like what's the sport that you watch that no one else gets involved with?
Oh, watch. What? I have none.
I got into cricket one year.
To play, to play, and I told Bryant when I win the Powerball, I'm building prolific. I mean the Garden of Eden type croquet lawns.
Croquet.
I love it.
Croquet.
I love it.
Oh gosh. Do you have
Great
like a croquet?
sport.
You have a croquet set at your place?
I do not. But my yard now, way back when, never knew it'd be my yard now. The big side yard was the croquet lawn, and every match ended up in a big drunken brawl.
Croquet's supposed to be classy.
I know,
What are we talking about?
But it'd always be some big issue over what somebody did.
I guess, if I'm gonna talk about my guilty, it'd have to be like spring football, but that probably doesn't even count. It's still football.
Yeah, it's football.
Yeah,
And,
I enjoy that stuff.
I don't have
off-season football.
I do, and I love to watch it, and not just for the vistas and the beauty of the
softball's
countryside.
fine. What am I talking about? I love softball.
But the exertion of it, the Tour de France. I watch an inordinate amount of the Tour de France every summer.
That's
and
honestly,
those hills
that's
and that
substantial.
athletics.
That's more fair. Like when it comes to like racing type sports, that's fair. There's bends, there's turns, there's a lot of things they have to do. People that like NASCAR, I don't want to shame them, but
and to see largely that French countryside. But here's one that I didn't know about until one year I'm watching it. All of the Tour de France, the bike ride around France, as I like to call it, it's not all in France. They go through other countries sometimes.
They do.
Belgium gets a pretty good relay of it, or what do they call the sections of it, the segments of it? I don't know.
You know more than we do.
Stages.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
wow,
you.
good job.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about, huh?
And then having been there to that end of it, to go up the Champs-Élysées, that thing is anything but flat. I mean, to have been on that bicycle like they've been and then have to finish that out, that is something to see.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. That that race though is almost, I mean, that's borderline punishment. Like, that's ridiculous what those bikers go through.
But that countryside is so beautiful, and those little towns
are they allowed
turning out for it like
Brett,
it's the Super Bowl.
Let's be honest. Do you think they get to really enjoy the views on the way? Or are they thinking about living that day?
They don't. But me as a viewer, no. Those cats don't.
I get it.
It's like you guys in college football. Everybody asks you, college, what about the road trip? Let me tell you what college football teams
see
see
the
on a
inside
road
of
trip.
a hotel room.
You see a bus, a lobby, you get your key, a meeting room,
projector screen,
and a tape room, and a ride to the stadium, and a pretty crappy opposing locker room.
I used to love away trips to
and a ride to the airport.
I knew people that went to the opposing school, and they'd text me and be like, "So are you able to come out after the game?" I'm like, "You're hilarious.
Come meet us at Harpo's." Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're hilarious. No chance.
Now the radio crew, we get to see the town.
Yeah, of
we
course.
really do get to enjoy Friday night in Knoxville at Calhoun's.
So real quick on the racing front, Bryant, you're into F1, aren't you?
I dabble.
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't say I'm super into it.
Jay Morgan is.
He's got a fantasy league.
I say,
look at how, man, that is just creative.
Maybe I
That
shouldn't have
drops the
given that
piano on the
information
whole
out.
segment. I knew that though, but I didn't rat you out, Jay Morgan.
Is it long-term fantasy? Please tell me it's long.
It's
not
over
daily
the season.
fantasy.
No, it's over the season. Yeah,
Okay.
he's got like
Good Lord.
I think he has like 4 or 5 drivers, and you have to like play
yeah.
3 of them, and 2 of them are on the bench or something. I don't know how it goes. He's explained it to me multiple
All
times.
with names like Emerson Fittipaldi.
Isn't it Max Verstappen? That's
he's
the
great.
big
He's
that's the big
fantastic.
dog.
The names make Cavassier Smoke look like James Smith.
And who's like the long-term GOAT? I need to get off this. But,
Lewis Hamilton.
that's
we
who
love
it
Lewis
is.
Hamilton.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton.
Except Lewis Hamilton was not happy.
The
last
Babe
year.
Ruth of Formula One. Lou Hamilton.
I actually heard in this country there's actually been an influx of people watching it because of
huge.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
But it can't be that big of an influx. We've only had one event in the United States since Drive to Survive, right? In Miami?
But they're adding another one in Las Vegas, I think.
I did see that, yeah. That'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, it'll be the first. It'll be
Would
an
y'all go to NASCAR? Would y'all?
No.
I would. I
would?
haven't.
Well,
but
I would. Okay. How do I explain
Haven't,
this?
won't,
like
never.
if I just show up the day of and have to sit in the stands and watch NASCAR, no. If someone has invites me to the infield for the weekend and it's a whole get up, maybe. Yes.
Good whiskey.
Yeah,
good
that
food.
type of thing. Like, but I'm not
The sweet life. The sweet life
would
racing.
You guys,
Yeah.
Would you guys show up just for the day and
Yeah.
just sit in the
No,
stands?
I've had
I would
multiple.
walk
people tell
across the
me
street to it.
The experience you watch on TV is one thing. You go there, you could never see NASCAR in your life. And you could go there and be like, whoa, this is awesome. Because they're just going so fast. It's so fun to watch.
Well, but
who cares? Yeah, they're just going in circles.
That's a little bit of the horse racing experience, too. My one time to the Preakness, I could see the horses from my house in Far City as well as I could in Baltimore.
Let me say this, though. The 75th time.
Maybe you stay for like an hour and then head out or something.
The 77th time the same NASCAR cars pass you. Are you as interested?
2.5 hours and then go in
literally that day at the Preakness, during the Preakness race, it was like, there they go. I missed it. What happened? I couldn't see anything.
F1 seems more intriguing to me because there's turns, there's twists. It feels like it from a skill perspective. I'm not saying NASCAR drivers aren't skilled, but the skill in F1 has to be
Yeah, but the problem with F1 is you only see part of it. Because it's so open road, you only see for like 3 seconds. They all shoot by,
and
then you watch
the
TVs or something.
Yeah, I guess
But I have found myself, especially with every passing year, I'm just really getting it down to football, basketball, baseball, golf. And I did enjoy very much going to the Blues playoff game, though.
Okay.
If I lived in a hockey town, I would go.
Brett, this is when I talk about truly
it would
watching
be every night,
hockey
though.
And trying to enjoy it and seeing the nuance and how the game's played, hockey is up there for me now. Like, hockey really has become that sport where, especially when you're there too, you can see the trailing of the play and what's going on behind, but it's pretty exciting. And I know there's not a lot of goals scored.
I want to go and sit in that suite I sat in with Tom Ackerman and his wife, though.
I could go to anything. And I'll go to NASCAR. I'll go to anything and sit in a suite. And
I was so full. I needed to walk back to the room. I was so full from
for you.
Oh man, yeah.
Hell yeah.
When you don't drink, you got to eat. That's the only thing you can get out of the sweet life when you don't drink.
What they have in there for you? Any like Italian?
Everything.
Okay.
Sliders.
Okay,
The what are the
toasted
raviolis? But from on the hill, from a place on the hill in the
You know who does good toasted raviolis around here though that we got to give credit for? Ronnie's.
Ronnie's
does great toasted
They
raviolis.
do great stuff there.
Yeah,
Ronnie's does.
I'll
tell you a dirty little secret. Ronnie's steaks.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I knew about that. They got the Gorgonzola. Is it the Gorgonzola one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. But Italian food in St. Louis, though, that's next level on the hill and everything else.
Oh, the toasted ravioli. You can.
Well, you can go to anywhere and they'll have toasted
really
ravioli.
Could. You swing a towel.
That was one of the weirder things. Like whenever traveling out of town when I was younger, it just toasted ravioli is strictly St. Louis. Every
really
appetizer menu has toasted ravs,
and you can get it for breakfast.
Well,
it's an eye opener,
I wouldn't suggest it. I don't think I don't
might
want
set
that
a little
tomato.
heavy on you about 11 o'clock.
I don't need that tomato sauce. I don't need all that in the morning. Golly, but breakfast fare.
Would y'all go to Wimbledon if you were in London?
100%.
100%, I would. 100%. And I said it back during the U.S. Open. And I really badly want to do this. I want to go to one of the night U.S. Open sessions at Flushing Meadow in New York when the town's electric and on fire.
I think my big sort of bucket list off the beaten path type thing for me is the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, it's number one on mine.
That's mine.
Number two, British Open at St. Andrews.
Yeah, that's there. I need to still make it to the Masters. That'd be sweet.
And
Brett's got the connections. Let's do this right now. Let's call him out over there.
This year at the Masters, and it's my favorite time to go. Anytime fun, but this is my favorite when Sunday falls on Easter Sunday. It's spiritual. You can feel the Holy Spirit's presence there at Augusta National. I promise you can. I love being there on Easter Sunday at the Masters. It's my favorite day of sports.
You can feel the Holy Spirit.
You really can. I promise you can.
Do they do anything for it, or is it just sort of business
as
usual?
There are a lot of special services around town, and not anything on the property per se. But I have been to some sunrise services in Augusta on Easter Sunday morning.
Yeah,
and it's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to see big changes at Augusta National. I'm going to tell people, if you don't follow this Twitter site, you need to start. It's called Eureka Earth, EUREKA, Eureka Earth. And with the drone technology, they capture photos from the tournament and from the Augusta National property, and they have shown the progress being done all summer. Basically have rebuilt the par 3 course and put in new cabins and new concession areas. But the 13th tee box, it has been moved to the furthest reaches of the property, and they've shaved out some of the landing area. It is not going to be an eagle hole anymore. It's not going to be driver flip wedge anymore.
So you're hooked up with Eureka Earth.
Uh-huh.
Is it just for them, or they do sort of take drone footage of everything?
They do a lot of stuff.
All over the place.
It's really interesting, but go to it just for what they've captured there on the property. And I guess Augusta can't shut them down, or they'd try.
Yeah. So he's plugged in with Eureka Earth, but we don't know. He's still working on that HDMI cord.
Oh, you got strengths in
all
your
the priorities, Gabe.
He's finding all the drone footage, but we can't find a HDMI cord.
All the priorities. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Football season underway, and now is the perfect time to download the FanDuel app, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Sign up right now with promo code FanDuel. You can bet on all your favorite teams. You can combine bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay, live betting, and on Thursday night. That's going to be a fun game between Bengals and the Dolphins. I like the over in that game, and I like Joe Burrow to go over his passing yards. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code CASH for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code CASH. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's go ahead and grab this break. We have one more segment, and that's Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time for another season of golf at Miramichi. You know the spot, 15 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. I call it heaven. It's 330 acres of natural beauty, 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, but there are several different tee boxes which make it fun or competitive for every level of golf. And the practice facilities are as good as any country club, and every round of golf comes with a cart and complimentary range balls. You can really improve your game, and you'll love the prices too. Seniors can play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for as low as $33. Again, the golf cart and the range balls are thrown in. The standard weekday rates are as low as $44. Friday, it's $50, and on Sunday, it's $55. You'll love the view from the terrace. You look out and see the best view in all of Shelby County. The whole experience, it's just fantastic. Go check it out yourself at Miramichi.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now and go Tigers.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get ready to embrace adventure like never before in 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $339 a month or $26,390. Get dramatic performance off-road, on-road, and everyday driving in 2023 Eclipse Cross, $409 a month or $31,085. And breakout and standout in 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 7 seating capacity. We Gossett at $419 a month or $31,605. Plus, peace of mind with our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 4.44 APR, 500 military rebate, 4,900 down. Sport NU 017062, MSRP 27,140. Cross PC 00695, MSRP 31,585. Outlander NZO 84348, MSRP 32,105. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/1/22 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Football is here, and this season, my 46th as a professional handicapper. More than any season before, you need my help when it comes to sports wagering. The transfer portal has made it impossible for the average fan to keep up with college football. Take advantage of our experience, contacts, and information, and get season service, college and pro football and college basketball for $1,000. Total cost, no add-ons or extra charges. Every play we make through the NCAA Final Four championship. 5 losing seasons in 45 years is a phenomenal record. Last season, 65.5% against the spread, including a 13-4 record on our 10-star plays. Call me, John Rainey, the Rain Man, at 901-461-4600. That's 461-4600, and get season service for $1,000. The Rain Man and All-Star Sports. You can't do any better.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
This is a damn fine automobile, if you want my honest opinion.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, DeAndre Ayton, obviously we have all these camps underway, but DeAndre Ayton was talking to the press yesterday, and he told reporters that he has not talked to his head coach since the Game 7 benching against the Mavs. Has not talked to Monty Williams, and he says, I haven't spoke to him at all ever since the game. I can show him better than I can tell him. I tend to agree with that. It's life. Nobody cares about the uncomfortable nature of it. It's how you perform and what you bring to the table. What's said is already said. But how do you go an entire offseason and don't discuss anything with your head coach, especially after getting, a 4-year, $133 million deal from that team? A lot was being said about DeAndre Ayton, but communication seems to be something that should have been had and it hasn't been had.
I learned that last night was clinching Tuesday for my preseason World Series picks. Yankees and Cardinals both punched their ticket last night into the postseason. No surprise there. That is not my September 28th at 5:51 World Series pick, though. That was preseason. The Cardinals don't have enough starting pitching, I think, to go very deep into the postseason, and I don't think the Yankees have enough relief pitching. If you combine the two, they might really have something, the Yankees starters and the Cardinals bullpen. 2009 last Yankees World Series title, 2011 last time for the Birds on the bat.
What I could have done without is I opened the show, and my not top story was about the Golf Week report saying that Fox Sports and Live Golf were nearing a deal for Live Golf to buy time from Fox Sports. But Live Golf has issued a statement saying the report was incomplete and inaccurate, and they say they are ahead of schedule in their inaugural year. And they have stated previously, and this was said by Greg Norman on a Chicago radio station about 2 weeks ago, there are multiple outlets that they're discussing with about broadcasting Live Golf. And they say don't draw one conclusion about potential media rights given that they are still in the middle of negotiation with several outlets. And the way it sounds is they're still going to have to buy time.
Nobody's paying them.
Wherever they end up going.
Yeah.
All this discussion, all of their messaging, I get they're trying to put on that brave face. They're throwing a lot of money at it. It's year one. They've had a lot of attention. But Greg Norman's saying they can see that we're delivering or we're ahead of schedule. What money have you brought in? You're paying a lot. You've given $100 million contracts to all these golfers. You have a YouTube channel that you've had to start up.
You can't pay the spike bill with what they brought in.
You're throwing a whole bunch of money, but where are the sponsors? Where's the TV rights deal?
Where's the ticket revenue?
You can say all you want that you're doing a good job, but talk doesn't mean a dang thing.
It's the senior tour with music, and that's giving the senior tour a bad name. I want to thank Connor O'Gara for this tweet information. Bryce, and I cited this morning on Dave's show, and I failed to give Connor credit. I'm very sorry for that. Connor O'Gara deserves credit. Bryce Young has had 5 true road starts in his Bama career. 4 of those games were decided by 3 points or less. The only big decisive win was on the road at Starkville against Mississippi State. Bryce Young needs a big road win Saturday in Fayetteville to launch his re-election campaign for the Heisman Trophy.
Also could have done without the Chargers and what they've had to do today. Put 2 guys on IR that are all Pro Bowl caliber talents. Have to put Joey Bosa on the shelf because of a groin injury. He tore his groin. They're going to give him surgery. He could come back later, but it's going to be an interesting call. And Rashawn Slater, their star left tackle, on the shelf for the entire year because of a bicep tendon being torn.
Keeping a close eye tonight at the Twitter site, D1 Docket. I mean, he's got all the great scheduling information. We're down to about 332 out of 363 Division I college basketball schedules out. It's getting close for everybody to be out, getting close for Tiger basketball to get underway. And all is right in the world and with the NCAA. And tonight in baseball, Tampa Bay needs a win at Cleveland, and Tyler Glasnow makes his first start of the year. That would be a big addition. And the Braves in D.C.
I love D1 Docket, Brett, but I have to say sometimes it's almost information overload how much they put out.
It's a lot.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to follow. And I would suggest following D1 Docket, but there is a lot they put out day to day.
It's not the Cliff Notes.
No, it's all of it. It's all of it. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Alex Kuhn, Drew DeArmond, Steve Earhart, and Nick Roush for their contributions to today's show. For Brian, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night and be safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.